Who needs to
Welcome
be
the face of
professional?
professional critic
Who
critiquing.
needs to be professional when you have apple pie?
Well, I'll be honest with you. You're more professional than the critics. Did you hear about what they rated Black Adam? There was a critic
Critics are
who
upset.
said, wait for it, they said Black Adam is the worst movie of the year. Clearly, they did not see Jeepers Creepers Reborn, because that, me, Perp, and everybody on his panel determined that was the worst, not just horror movie, but the worst fucking movie we've seen this year. Like,
I didn't see it
literally.
yet.
You don't need to. It's terrible. It's not even Batwoman terrible where you could like laugh. It's just bad, poorly made. When they walked, you could see the fucking green screen. Like, they used green screen for them walking.
That's fucking hilarious.
It's insultingly bad. It's to a point where they have not just treated the audience like idiots, but they treat the audience like kindergartner idiots, like that low level of movie making. But hi, welcome everybody. We're going to actually talk about the best show no one's watching, Andor, episode 7 and 8. What the fuck? You know what? I heard a reviewer today say, it's really sad, and I'm going to just stop reviewing Andor until the last episodes because, like, even my views on these videos are low. And I said, you know what? Fuck that. Then people can come over here because we're going to be here till the very fucking end.
We're going to be here.
We are going to be here giving you every episode broken down of Andor because it's criminal. I've been listening to bitching from Star Wars fans about good Star Wars, and we finally get it. They finally say, okay, we wave the flag. Here you go. Here's a good show. We know it's not the person you asked for, but we got top tier writing and nobody's fucking watching it. So please, people, anybody who comes across this, anybody who hears our glowing review and is curious, please watch this show and don't wait for it all to air because the figures don't go by when it's all done. They go by live concurrent watch. So try to watch it live because if you don't, they will not renew this show, and Disney will give us another fucking Obi-Wan or some dumb generic bullshit. And I don't want that.
Whoa. We don't have to hate on Obi-Wan just because there's a lot.
Dude, let's be real. Let's be real. No one would fucking like that show if Ian McGregor and Hayden Christensen wasn't in it. Am I wrong? If Ian McGregor was acting his ass off and carrying that fucking show on his back, nobody would fucking watch it, and it would have gotten worse than the ratings that it already did. Yeah, even Hayden Christensen, I give him credit. He was, the CGI was kind of wonky, but he was really good. But let's be real.
Yeah, that's my favorite scene in the whole show. It's my favorite scene in the whole show is the flashback lightsaber duel. We
agreed, right? When we were reviewing it. They should have done more of that. Like, that's what we thought we were going to get. But instead
I wonder if we will continue to agree on what quite possibly, I don't know about you, but I like the way that this show is set up with Andor. It might be the best. It might be the best Star Wars show.
Okay.
Hot take.
I agree.
Oh, oh man! People are not going to watch this and be like, it's just hanging out in an echo chamber. Like, we were literally just bitching about the show, but we bitched about all the shows because we love them.
This is one of the rare occasions. This is one of the rare occasions. Hello, Carrie. Or sorry, we haven't gotten to the hellos. There's a lot going on, but let's welcome everyone first. Hello, Carrie. Hello, Lemon Pie. Hello, Christine, and of course, Janie Davis.
You can say hello the way you did to Lemon Pie. That's fine, but you could add a little more pizzazz when you say hello to my woman.
Hello, magnificent, gracious, stunningly awesome Carrie. Welcome.
There you go. That's better.
Jesus Christ. I kiss enough ass with my sponsors.
We don't have to do the sponsor plug here, but we probably will.
Oh yeah, you love saying it.
Is that a new shelf over there?
Yeah.
When'd you put that shelf up?
We had it up, but we just populated it with stuff
You know,
now.
adjacent to that shelf, there is an empty space right there. And you know what would look really good in that empty space?
Why? What could I possibly put in that empty space?
You could put a movie palette there.
But PB, what if I already have a movie palette?
Well, if you already have a movie palette and you yourself, General Zod, go to moviepalette.com, you can look at the wide array of movie selections for their palettes that they have, and you could possibly find one to match the one that you already have. I don't know. Maybe it would be a national treasure.
Yes, you're right,
And
because I
after
have
you
National Treasure 2. So I
exactly
should get National Treasure 1, put it up there. That's a great idea.
see how
But
they match up.
but what about money, man? I'm a little broke. I mean, how
Oh,
am I
you're a little
going to get
strapped
this
for
amazing?
cash. You're a little
Yeah.
strapped for cash. Well, while you're there, they have a little promo section, and you could enter code ZONE15 to save 15%. And at the same time, help out your favorite general. Oh, wrong way.
So, thank you, Movie Palette, for sponsoring the channel. We appreciate you,
Not this
everybody.
channel.
Did you hear what Davey Daniel said? I thought that was a great.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
PB's made Zod give me more of a hello than he did. No,
And you could say hello to moviepalette.com.
Exactly. And cheers. I'm drinking vodka. So,
Drinking
let's
Monster.
talk about Andor, the greatest
my
show no one
God.
is watching. First off, let's just begin before we jump into
Is it
these
the best show
episodes.
on Disney Plus? Oh, God, maybe.
Let's just talk about
The fact that we continue to be right about how the show is going to play out.
I mean, yeah,
What
it's
do you
kind of
think?
crazy.
Like, I'm going to jump forward right away because I need to know your thoughts, because I feel like once again we're going to be on the same page. We saw what happened in the first 3 episodes. We saw what happened in the next 3 episodes. Now we're at episode 7 and 8. Could he possibly escape from the prison in episode 9 and then the prison arc will be done with? Who knows?
So we said it's in 3s, right? So we were waiting for the next.
It's been set in 3s. Like, you get a big. That means you get technically 4 finales. Okay, whatever. It's good.
It is. And the introduction of a KSO unit, were you thinking what I was thinking when it grabbed him?
I was like,
Is that the one? I said, is that the KSO unit that he's gonna? So I had a theory and I wanted to see if we were on the same page.
okay.
I'm wondering if he reprograms one, or maybe that
No,
one
he does.
later.
Like it's in your memory, and that's why you asked that particular question. But in the movie, in Rogue One, he says that he had to reprogram the droid, so now it's friendly, and then they make a joke that he's not actually that friendly.
So I'm thinking, did we see the KSO that's going to later?
It's possible.
That's what, because I was like, because I go, that adds so much more depth, and it goes back to what they were saying in the movie when he said he had to reprogram a droid. So wouldn't it be fucking just crazy if that was the droid that he reprogrammed?
If that's the droid, and they, eventually get Alan Tudyk to come in and do the voice, because without him, it's not going to be anything. That would be like Batista doing the voice of Korg. Nobody wants that.
No.
That's not going to work.
No, we want Batista being Drax.
If K2SO gets his proper voice after being reprogrammed in the show Andor, which timeline-wise, as long as the show don't get canceled, watch this fucking show, people. God damn.
And
it's gonna get reprogrammed. Well, one of them's gonna get reprogrammed. There's like 2 other ones that were like standing off to the side after he's friggin' choking them against the wall.
Yes, so it's like, I don't know. It stuck out to me.
Anyway,
like,
my point is, this would be the only show that has 2 awesome droids.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that first droid was
I love B.
hilarious.
B
Great.
is hilarious. He's great.
So,
Like, who would have thought that a stutter in a robot would be charming? But fuck if it ain't.
the other thing I wanted to also point out was I like how they show, especially in episode 7. So episode 7 is more of the calm down episode from the heist. So we get a lot of settling stuff. And
Yeah,
I
it's like a
like how they
recovery episode.
yeah, it's like we're seeing the fallout of everything that happened. And I gotta say, I loved that Disney, or more accurately, this director had the balls to show like people hanging in the streets. Dude, I did not fucking expect that. I was watching it and I go, holy fucking shit, are they showing people hanging from the fucking like sides of the building and shit? I was like wow. And then he gets back and he tells his mom, like, hey, let's get the fuck out of here. And she drops the bomb that they killed, I guess what his stepfather it would be, because he was adopted by her. His surrogate mother had the husband or whatever die, and she decided she wasn't going to go with him. She was going to, ironically, join the rebellion. So now Andor's at this weird crossroads, because remember in the last episode he said, "Fuck you guys. I am about me.
I
I'm
did
going
what I
home."
did. I want my money. I want to get the hell out of here.
And I think it was really hilarious, that the irony of his situation, because the lady said that. She said, "Hey, think about it." And like now he has to take a look and go like, "Hey, everybody is joining this rebellion, even people I'm close to," because Andor is a very interesting character. We don't really know how close he is to anyone, but I assume to the
The old
stepmother,
lady. Right.
yeah, I would assume he's close to her, considering he went back to give her some money to get the fuck out.
Well,
So,
I mean, he really, in reality, he just went back to pick her up, essentially. He's like, we're going to leave right now. Grab a
yeah,
backpack.
he was like, "We're going right now. We're getting the fuck out of here. Shit's
I
getting
can't
real."
do that. I'm a rebel.
And I was like, I was torn, because I was like, good for you. She doesn't have much to live for. She's fucking old. It's like, if you're going to die, you might as well die for something, right?
Go out
But at the
balls to the
same
wall.
time, I was kind of pissed, because we're sons, right? And you know that thing when you try to tell your parents, like, "Come on, mom and dad, it's time to go." And they're like, "No, I'm going to stay and fight." And you're like, fuck.
My parents are not kung fu masters.
Okay, fair enough. But, I'm sure they could shoot, because everyone in Wisconsin can shoot. Okay. All right. So we get the scene, and where Andor realizes, hey, my own fucking surrogate mother is choosing to fight. And he starts to come to that realization, and he's kind of in a daze, and he does something stupid and gets caught. And we saw, I'd say, the highlight of the episode for me, a KSO unit fucking grabs him and chokes him. I thought he was gonna, like, look, I know Andor can't die, but I liked the fact that there was enough tension there where, like, he was choking the shit out of him. I thought he was turning red. Like, that was very well done. I was like, oh shit. I was like,
It was
at the very
hilarious,
least,
too.
he's gonna like pass out or something.
He's like, that's not what he meant. That's not what he meant. And the droid's just like, that's what he told me to do.
Yeah, like, so we've all learned our lessons. Droids take things literally. Don't don't fucking joke with a droid and tell them to strangle you, because they will. Because how did he word it? So he words it as the Empire is strangling me or something like that, or it was something to that effect. But the KSO unit took it as an aggressive thing and said, okay, and fucking started strangling him. And
It was awesome.
yeah, which was fucking hilarious. And it was funny because it's one of those fun moments, kind of like with Drax when we're first introduced to him. And Rocket says, because me and Bitchy were watching that the other day, and he goes, yeah, you can't use metaphors. It goes over their head. He goes, nothing goes over my head.
Nothing on my head. I would catch it.
I would catch it. And it was like, you go, oh.
So, I love that line.
Yes, great line. So I kind of thought of that when I was watching this. But yeah, a lot of good stuff on the other end. So let's jump over to the Empire. The chick that I feel like actually does have a legitimate sexual harassment claim.
What?
You know how women like to say they're being ignored in the workplace and all that. I would agree with this chick, right? They completely fucking ignored her.
Talking about the blonde chick?
Yeah. And makes a power play and gets a legit threat. The black dude's like, well played. I'm gonna fucking kill you, but good job. Like, I love that. Like, he's like,
stole his territory.
Yeah, he goes, he's like, you know, good job. You got the backing, you got everyone's ear. And I like how they show the inner workings of the Empire. So we're seeing they're doing political intrigue, kind of like Game of Thrones, and we'll get to that later. They're doing the good Game of Thrones intrigue that we liked, right? Where it's not necessarily tension from action, but it's all of these people moving and scheming, and you're sitting back wondering and waiting for it all to fucking fall down. Because everybody's moving and plotting and moving against each other. This one wants this promotion. This one's trying to get ahead on this one. This one's threatening the other one. And I don't know about you, but I find it fucking fascinating. Like, I'm really hoping for a Game of Thrones style where you have these things that are going to...
on the Empire side?
Yeah, because you know those motherfuckers probably kill a lot of people to get in their positions. Like, the Empire almost encourages that.
Well, they're supposed to. Like, how else are you supposed to work up the ladder? Your mic went off. Uh-oh. The whole thing disconnected. What a disaster. Now I'm meant to sit here and talk about Star Wars all on my own. Which is not sad, because it's good fucking Star Wars. Oh.
All right. It switched me.
That was good.
I guess it was like, no, PB's in charge, and this isn't the fandom zone.
Nobody's in charge. We're just sitting here having a conversation, talking about a great show. What were you saying before the internet so rudely interrupted?
So I was saying that I find it interesting, the political stuff, and you answered my last thing, but I couldn't answer you back with the, yeah, you're almost like encouraged. And I feel like these directors and writers really understand this world, because when I thought about the Empire's political system, right, like Grand Moff Tarkin, all of these guys, when you get shades of it in George Lucas's
evil
stuff, right?
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, you could tell they're all scheming, but they kind of just stay in line and wait for that person to fuck up before they step in. And it's cool to see these early stages, like even these people who aren't that high, that are constantly plotting to fuck each other over. And the Empire encourages that. It's almost like the Emperor has a great scheme going on, encouraging all of this discord, which is forcing people to excel, which keeps the machine going, because nobody's questioning what the fuck they're doing.
No, why would they do that? It's just follow orders.
I mean, it's kind of like real life, right? We're all making the money. You're not questioning how the money's being made. You know, you're just trying to advance up that ladder. And then you get a little bit further up, you get a little further up. And by the time you get to that point where like Moff Tarkin is or Vader, but then you're in too deep. They got you. And you're like, well, I already genocided a village, fucking killed my coworkers. Might as well just ride it out.
Yep, ride it out.
Yeah. You're like, I guess I am evil. I just gotta resign myself to that and, move it out the way. So, once again, there is something to be said. This is not an action pack episode. So, 7, just ends with Andor being arrested.
Yeah, being arrested for, I don't even understand. Like,
it was some bullshit charge.
What happened specifically? Like, he was just walking around on the beach, like literally just walking on the beach, and they said he was some type of rebel.
They said
because he was fleeing a rebel thing.
Yeah, he was leaving like a rebel ruin kind of thing, just looking around, and it was like scavenging, but it was an illegal act. And the first time they hit him with it, it was a lower charge, but now the Emperor is tightening up their grip since he pulled off the heist. Irony. So the thing they arrest him for is actually he gets more time than the thing he probably should have got time for, which is murdering all the motherfuckers during the heist. And that's the irony, is the punishment is worse than what he would have got just getting caught for doing that heist. Well, they probably would have been put to death, but you know what I mean? It was like on that level. So they're showing that the Empire is tightening up, and we find out that the plan from that chick in Skarsgård was to make the Emperor tighten its hold on these colonies. And now I wanted to ask you this because I found this fascinating. The rebellion's kind of fucked up when you think about it. So they knew that if they did this, the Empire was going to tighten their grip. They willingly caused this so that they would tighten their grip to piss people off, to get them on their side. Now, I understand that's basically how you lead a rebellion, but that's kind of fucked up because they caused the people suffering. Yeah, so it's kind of weird because we're seeing the rebellion in a new light, and that's like fucked up. A lot of people got murdered in Andor's home, specifically, like hung and killed as traitors.
No matter what side you pick, everybody's an asshole.
I gotta tell you, I love it. What did you think about episode 7? What was your favorite part? Are you liking the shit they're setting up and all that?
I mean, I thought we agreed that the favorite part of episode 7 was when the K2 unit was coming out.
I thought you had something new, but yeah, that was fucking awesome.
No. Like that, even though it was a letdown because it wasn't him, we're both along the same lines that I'm pretty sure that's the one that'll get reprogrammed.
That's what I was thinking too. Like maybe he gets Alan Tudyk's voice after he reprograms him.
Right. That would make sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking because he said it softened up, right? And that KSO unit sounded like scary. When I heard it, I was like, oh shit. Like you want that motherfucker tell you.
Like super robot voice.
Yeah. He was like, a robot tells you with that voice to get in your house, I'd be like, yes, sir. And Lemon Pie has a good point. It says probably no armed movement doesn't do something messed up at some point. And like, that's the issue, right? We're always seeing, okay, so when we drop in Star Wars, right, historically, the war is underway. We have very clearly defined good guys. We know Luke, Obi-Wan, Han Solo, all of them, the Leia, the rebels are good. They're the bastion of good. Everything they do is good. They don't put people's lives at risk, blah, blah, blah. But now we're seeing the shit that led up to that. And you start to realize the rebels are kind of scumbags. I love these directors because they really get into that aspect of war, and me being in the service and stuff. Yeah, no war you fight is clean, right? Nobody just does everything 100% virtuous. That's fucking stupid. Yeah, at Zod, Phantom Zone, wartime ethics and regular ethics are different, as you know. Exactly. But it's weird because we come from the wholesome, chopping people's hands off. You know what I mean? Like, We come from the clearly defined, but you have to remember that was the middle of the war. So we knew definitely who the good and the bad guys were. But this show puts it into a perspective to where it's like, you know what? Those lines aren't so clear. Like, in order to fight something like the Empire, you got to get your hands dirty. And
just a little bit.
And you know what? It helps build Andor. Like, I rewatched Rogue One
That's
with
what
a
I
new
was just going
appreciation.
to say. Episode 7 is a great character building episode for him specifically because it shows you that there is actually something out there that he cares about. Like, that was the whole point of doing what he was doing, was so that he could get him and his mother out of there.
And it reframes it to, you start to realize he is willing to do what needs to get done, but he does have a code of ethics. Like, because of how Rogue One was shot, we only see him after he's been battle hardened and all this fucked up shit probably happened to him, right? So he's just like, boom, kill a motherfucker, I don't care. And in this, you get to see how he got from that point. And I never thought that I would want this, but fuck, now we need more seasons. We need it to lead into Rogue One, because this writing is so, and I can't stress enough.
Don't skip nothing on the way there either. Give me all the filler.
Yeah, I want all of the filler. It's so compelling to see his story and his transformation, and to realize, like, he wasn't such a bad guy. And not only him, but the show is doing an excellent job showing the rebellion and the Empire and going like, yeah, the Empire are assholes, but now they're showing us the other side of it. And, you know, these people kind of have families and shit too. So it's like not every enemy. It was just like World War II, right? Not every German, not every Japanese or whatever were co-signing with what the country was doing. But because the country is doing it, you know, the Empire's doing it, they don't have a choice. You fucking join, you fight, or you and your family will die. It's really,
you won't die. They'll send you to prison where you can.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get we're gonna get to episode
something.
8 because I got a lot to say, and I gotta say, that's probably one of my favorite episodes so far. I don't know about you, but number 8 is, yeah, we'll get into that. But 7 really frames Andor and shows his motivations, and I love that scene when he gets arrested because he's so broken at that point. His mom
like,
says,
what's going on? What's happening?
Yeah, and then he out
he's
of
like,
frustration,
you're being arrested. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and out of frustration, he's like, "This is worse than the first offense you," which was 20 times worse, but you gave me a less sentence. So, I really fucking I love everything this fucking show does. Let's rate episode 7 first, and we'll get to 8 because that leads into the whole Andor being arrested thing. But Janie Davis says, at Mr. Sod's Phantom Zone, every Patriot soldier who has to kill has their own ethics lines they won't cross. Makes it easier to live with the lines that they did cross. Yeah. And I know something about that. I don't like talking much about it. I just told something too bitchy that I never told anyone. I'm not going to say it live because it's kind of my own personal thing. But yeah, it makes me think of it because there is, especially in war, it's all morally gray. And I think what separates good from bad is where you place that line. It's why I love The Punisher, okay? Because The Punisher had a very clear line, and then his whole fucking family got gunned down in the civilian world. When you come back to civilization and you realize the rules are different because everything's so clearly defined in the military, you realize you have to reframe your lines. You have to redraw because society has a different standard and sees everything.
Oh no.
Society frames everything so black and white.
Oh yeah.
Where you have lived and seen the gray areas. And once you've been on that line, it's hard to come back and toe that fucking line. I can't tell you how many times in my job I would love to go out to the front and fucking stab somebody in the face with a fucking fork for returning something for a stupid fucking reason. But ethically, that would be wrong, right? I would be crossing the line. That's not morally acceptable. Would I be justified? If you heard the complaints, yes. But, you know, but by social standards, I am not justified.
Gary says, I started watching Andor from the first episode as I started on episode 4. My fault. Enjoying how the environments change, complement the progression of the series. Acting in it is, I can't believe she only said good. I assumed she was going to say great.
Yeah, Carrie, I am glad that you're watching the show because yeah, it is. It's really good. And the acting is good, or as we like to say,
Rose.
great. Janie Davis says, at Mr. Zod's Phantom Zone, you don't owe us your pain. We're here if you want to talk, but we're not looking to make you uncomfortable. No, it's not something I don't want to talk about. It's something I can't talk about, like legally. It's someone I met that I can't talk about, but it reframes a lot of things. And it's one of those things like meeting people or seeing events from a different perspective. And that's what I appreciate about the show, because this show to me is so great because I've seen that and the way it frames it. And even PB, who I assume you haven't been through a war, PB, unless it's working with me all these years.
Not everybody's pain is the same.
What's up, Rose? How are you doing?
Gary said, sorry, PB, the acting is great. Like cheese.
Good stuff. So, episode 7, let's just rate this one first, and then
even though it was only episode 7, I give it an 8.
I would have to agree with you. I give this one an 8.
Aha!
Yeah. Holy fuck, we're on the same grading curve here. But yeah, my 2 points off was just
I'm eating Chex Mix.
My 2 points off for this one was just, once again, it's a little bit slower.
Right. I need a little more action.
Yeah, there's not a lot of action, but that's not saying it's not good. It's just, it's a lot of world building. And the great thing about this show, and we've said this and been right, there is payoff to these episodes that are slow, as some YouTubers like to say, right? There's payoff by the 3rd episode. Well, and I appreciate
in episode 7 where Mon Mothma's talking to the one guy about getting money.
Sure did we talk about that?
7. No.
Oh, yeah. So go ahead, because you remembered. I forgot that subplot. There was so much going on.
No, I mean, she's not necessarily an interesting character, but she's actually doing something that I care about. So I'll give her that. She's not just a side character anymore. Like, she's moving some pieces on the chessboard herself instead of having them moved for her.
And that was interesting to me because when we first saw her, we agreed. We said that was not our favorite character. And,
don't care.
And even I forgot that subplot. But to be fair, it's now and I respect that. They've been slowly building her character up. And now, and like we said, this show is amazing at paying off everything it's setting up. So now we are seeing her start to move the money, because remember before she was telling Skarsgård, I got all this to lose, blah, blah, blah. And then the heist happened.
You're going to ruin everything. I can't believe you did this. Oh, it happened? Awesome. I love that reaction. That was great.
And then he's like, see, it happened. No one was found. No one was arrested, amazingly, right? Nope. Their names are out of it. And she's like, all right, now let's move the money. Let's get more operations going. And thank you for reminding me, because that was an important part. So she is more invested. But we still have that theory. I'm still pitching that theory that fucking daughter, the daughter husband, is going to fuck everything up. I'm waiting for it.
Oh, for sure.
Because she's not married in the later ones, and she doesn't have, or they don't mention her kids. So something fucking happens.
Well, I feel like you got one of two options. You got one option is they like join the Empire outright or something like that. Like they get I don't know, some position of power or something like that. Option number two is game over.
Yeah, it's gonna be something fucked up. And Janie Davis, it's Pedro Pascal. So yeah, I think that it was very good. Yeah, like you said, and I feel bad this week that I forgot her story because it was important. Everything in this fucking episode was important. Actually, everything had a purpose. We've made some small nitpicks in the beginning where we felt things weren't important or they didn't pay off till later. But I'll tell you what, I got to be honest. In this episode, everything felt like a vital piece. Like things were moving, things were happening. Even now, this episode still felt pivotal, even though it was the come down from the heist and everything.
It's the start of the next arc.
But I feel like they really did this one like they got their stride. Because even though this is a slow episode, didn't it feel like to you like shit was happening all the time? I didn't have that.
It's a slow episode and you watch it fast.
Yeah, I was sitting there and I couldn't believe how quickly I got through it. And I was like, fuck, that's it. Thank God I missed this episode. I jumped right into 8.
It's still what, a 45-minute episode or something like that?
No, it was 53.
No, but the credits are like
with credits, probably like.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a 45-minute episode still, and it feels like you watch it in like 25.
But unlike She-Hulk, which is 25 minutes, it felt like I didn't waste my life. So good for you, Star Wars.
I'm glad you could bring up She-Hulk because are you afraid that this show is going to end the way that She-Hulk ended by being like, okay, like you didn't like She-Hulk the entire time, right? Like you don't like.
Oh, I hated it with a passion.
No, okay, but the last episode is extraordinarily bad, according to you.
The last episode was my "I told you so" for everybody who argued with me.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, are you afraid that that's going to happen with Andor?
Not a fucking concern in the world. Not at all. Not the least. These writers are so competent. And folks, I want to point this out because we hardly ever hear, especially with just us talking, we don't compliment the writers a lot because we're not interested. We're talking about the episode. But the writing, I refuse to believe that they're that stupid just with how smart the show is written.
It's written smart in both aspects as far as story and the dialogue.
I mean, PB, we're being spoiled right now. And
what more do you want? I'll tell you what more I want. I want your microphone to work better. Second point.
She hit the cord.
I want a lightsaber.
So, like I was saying, this show is so intelligently written. And I got to stress something to you guys. It's been a while since me and PB have been excited. What's the last thing? Mandalorian. The last time we were all on the same page, me, PB, Cyber, Justin a couple of times, Perp, LB, was Mandalorian. Like, that's the only time we've all been happy about something.
And only season 1.
Yeah, and that was season 1. Season 2, I think we, for the most part, agreed on things. There were some things that...
No, like we did, but season 2 is more controversial because, no Gina.
Yeah, but Luke Skywalker, so everybody quickly fucking forgot about her. Isn't that amazing? Luke Skywalker comes back. They're like, Gina, who?
Not me though. I'm still sour about it. And you know what I'm gonna do to be sour about it? I'm gonna continue to watch The Mandalorian.
Me too. I'm gonna watch that fucking premiere. I'm gonna watch the shit out of it
I can hold two thoughts in my mind. Like, just because you're not supporting somebody that I think you should support doesn't mean that I don't want to support other people that are on the same production.
Janie Davis, speaking of Mandalorian, I figured this comment fits now. She said, "At Mr. Zod's Phantom Zone, thanks. Pedro Pascal. It must be an exceptional actor to put so much emotion into a puppet and emotes and feelings without a face." Watch The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal. That
He
movie
wears
will
a
change your life.
Mandalorian suit in that?
Yeah. Yes. Spoiler alert. It's my number one for my top 10 this year. That movie. Picture The Mandalorian with fucking Nicolas Cage. This movie is one of the greatest things. Now that you have that picture The Mandalorian and Nicolas Cage watching Paddington 2. Just let that sit in your mind for a second.
But wait, they watch Paddington?
They watch Paddington, yes.
Oh my God.
And Nicolas Cage cries. It is the fucking funniest shit. They are high as fuck watching Paddington 2 crying. It is the funniest scene I've ever seen in cinema. Okay? This is by far one of the best comedies ever made. It did a modest amount. It wasn't a big blockbuster success. It did recoup its money. I would encourage everybody to watch The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Nick Cage's finest performance. He's playing Nick Cage. And Pedro Pascal and Nick Cage are the best pairing I've ever fucking seen in cinematic history. The movie you know what the movie felt like, PB? It felt like if me and you shot a movie and they just told us to act like ourselves, and people were laughing because, you know, I say something stupid and you say, "Shut up, you putz," and people are like, "Oh my God, are they even friends?" That's what the movie felt like. It was like a true blue buddy cop kind of fucking movie. It goes crazy places. Well, please watch that movie. It's a great movie. Anyways, sorry. I thought Mandalorian, Nick Cage. I don't know. I always manage to bring up Nick Cage at least once. So, overall, what would you rate this now that we got that all out of the way? Episode 7, we said what, 8? 8 even? We're in agreement?
We both said 8 for episode 7. I thought you had moved on to episode 8. Did we not move on to episode 8?
No, not yet. We're just getting ahead. So, episode 8, my favorite. Dude, I'm going to let you know, spoiler alert, my rating's going to be high. We get to see Imperial Prison. Holy fucking shit, dude.
First question.
Yes.
What's going on with the whirlpools that are around the floating prison?
I have no fucking clue. I was going to ask you.
I was like, okay, well, it's
do I want to know? Considering what they show us,
around to keep it afloat is what I first thought, and I was like, wait a second, if it was spinning around to keep it afloat, why would it be pulling the water downward? So then it was making me think that it's pulling the water into the facility for whatever cooling purposes. I don't fucking know. I have no idea. Second question, what in the actual fuck are they building? Are these Death Star parts?
I want to say, I was thinking it was Death Star parts. I was going to say the same.
Very important.
Yeah, like, are we seeing the Death Star being built? I was going to, it's like you're in my head. Yeah, I was going to say, so think about how fucked up this is if this is the Death Star. Prisoners were building the parts for the fucking Death Star. That, oh my mind is fucking blown. And it's not the thing that's crazy about this is it's not unrealistic to assume that this would happen, because in prisons they have those work release programs or whatever, right? So they basically have free labor. Janie Davis.
Free
I don't
labor
know
is the
what
best kind of labor. Have you? Nope, I'm not going to go there.
And Mr. Zod's Phantom Zone, I will put at the top of my movie list. Still won't happen. Janie Davis, you should definitely watch The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It will change your life. She said also too, what happened to your wrench? I don't know. You should still have a wrench.
Are you sure that you had a wrench on this channel? I'm so confused. Do you have one on Husky's stream?
Oh, this is a different channel, Janie. So you have one on mine. You might not have one here in the Profits because this is a different offshoot of our normal channel. So
Maybe it was under her old name or previous name.
could be, yeah, because I know we don't take wrenches here unless you do something stupid, which we have. We are blessed. We do not have stupid people here. Trust me, we've dealt with numerous stupid people.
Well, I mean, I can fix it. I just gotta change accounts.
So yeah, don't worry. We'll get everybody wrenches who should have wrenches. You guys are a great audience. And we have a good conversation. So yeah, if you notice something out of the ordinary, just let us know. And I'd like to take this time to thank the chat because seriously, you have no clue the bullshit we've had to deal with chats. PB, the dark days. Oh God, we've had some of the worst fucking chats you guys could ever imagine. We'd be talking about a show and someone would like put "I hate Disney" and we'd be like, "That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about The Mandalorian. That has nothing to do with how you feel about Disney. Like, what the fuck?" Sure? So, yeah, we just want you guys to know we really do appreciate everybody here, all 9 people watching. Thank you so much. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get the Profits of Geek Culture to 1,000. So one of us can be monetized because my fucking channel ain't happening right now. So we'd like to get
monetize everything.
Yeah, so that way we don't have to work shitty jobs. Okay, this is a question. This is an answer for Danny. Anyways, so episode 8, there's a big prison thing. Dude, so they showed torture and holy fuck, like manipulating the inmates. I gotta say, I don't know what your take is on this, but I gotta say, the Empire's pretty fucking smart with how they handle the prison system. They use
that prison is unbelievably impressive.
Oh yeah, not only is this fucking prison impressive as a set piece, as a design. Now PB, you're a big design guy, right? You have always nitpicked shit that you notice. Did you notice from a technical aspect anything that seemed out of place? Because I don't have that kind of eye. To me, it looked pretty fucking inescapable.
Let's get another visual of it because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it has a particular shape. I was just. And I'll be foolish. You were just what?
I was just taken back because even the design of that prison, I was like, because you see a lot of the prison.
Yeah, I was correct. It is a hexagon, which is the strongest shape.
Yeah, and I was like, it felt to me like.
Okay, continue. We're still talking about the physical prison, not like one of the setups. And okay,
I was gonna say it felt like one of those things, like you go there and you get that feeling like you're fucked because there's no way. I don't even know if Rocket could break out of this prison. And he did 12 in different galaxies.
Wait, he did 12?
Yeah.
12 what?
He's like, prison. I've broken out of 12 prisons
across.
Yeah, that whole thing across 4 different galaxy systems.
No, the only physical problem that I had was they got the whole thing set up on like some holy system that it's 7, 7, 7, 7. I don't remember how many sevens there are. It's all sevens, right?
Yep.
Okay. So if it's all sevens, who came up with the number 7 and decided to design these workstations with 6 fucking spots to stand? It's a
See, that's what I was
three-sided
waiting.
fucking object that they're building. Well, I guess it's a 6-sided object because it's a hexagon. Hexagons are strong. But they build half of it and then they turn it a quarter or a third or however far you got to fucking turn. I don't know how many degrees. Doesn't matter. And then they set it back down and then they put the other 3 arms on. But there's only space for one person, one person. One person, one person. One person, one person. There's space for 6 fucking people, and they got the whole thing set up for 7. And I was like, no.
So I see. Yeah, I was waiting. See, I didn't catch that watching it. So
Oh
that's
my
why, like,
god. I didn't catch it initially when Snoke was introducing him. Get it?
yeah.
When Snoke was introducing him to the rest of the team, I didn't like look closely enough, and I was like it didn't catch me then, but I could tell that something was bothering me. Like he's sitting there like, something is off, and I'm not sure what it is yet. And then after the 30 shifts, and they go back there, and I'm seeing them do this, and they're just like hauling ass on it. I was like, wait a second, how come there's only 6 spaces to stand? And that was it. That was my only question. I was like, this is fucking dumb. This is so stupid right now. Like, whoever, like, you had this whole cool line before about how we got 7 levels and 7 pods and 7 tables and 7 people at each table. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Your table holds 6.
See, I was waiting because I know, especially with structures, when we get into this, you always fucking find like a nitpick. I'm wondering how that's gonna affect your rating, but yeah, because for me, I'm not looking for that kind of stuff. You know, I'm more looking at the dialogue and dazzled by the design and everything else. So I was like, let me just check with the design guy because I remember I'll never forget when you reviewed Mandalorian, and I thought it was cool when the dude got cut in half by the door, but then you pointed out, well, logically that couldn't happen because of how everything was, and I would have never thought about that because I was just like, oh, dude got chopped in half. Like, holy shit, we haven't seen that in Star Wars in a while.
Well, you just so happened to hit the box in just a perfect fashion to make the door completely malfunction in the one way that it would be designed not to malfunction, or else it could kill random people.
And so, like, yeah. So let me ask you: do you find this 7-6 thing as egregious as that, or were you kind of able to look past it, or did it just annoy the shit out of you?
I mean, it didn't annoy me as much because then they kind of show how they're working, like they zoom out a little bit and you can see everything, and I was like, okay, I don't like you got everything set up for 7 and then you set a table for 6. That's fucking dumb. But apparently, like, whoever is the best worker or in charge of the table is like a floating supervisor for the table for when somebody gets like hung up on a bolt or a nut or something like that. They're like, okay, let me help you here real quick. And then we'll keep everything moving. So I was like, okay, well, each table has a supervisor, but I still hate it because the supervisor should be jumping from table to table to table. Seems like you're wasting a person on supervisors.
So it is technically 7 with the floater.
Well, yeah, that's like, okay. But if you want everybody to be at the same level, right? At the same, what do I want to say? In the hierarchy. Like, as far as I know, the Snoke is walking around from table to table to table. Is he running his own table?
I mean, from what I saw, his job just seemed to make sure.
Okay, well, I don't think you have to run your own table, or else you're not going to get flavor in your food, which I thought was awesome. That was awesome,
dude.
That cell is awesome,
dude. I was like, if they did that in prisons, could you imagine? Shit would change. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, Oh my god, that was so clever. And I wanted to bring this up because Janie Davis says the Empire's not good at planning. I disagree, because when you watch this episode, you see actually maybe not okay. They did make that centimeter hole that's the size of a womp rat that one person in the world could possibly shoot.
It's like a 1 meter hole.
Yeah, that was a pretty big design oversight. But for the most part, they might not be good at the planning, but they're very good at manipulating people into doing what they want them to do, which got them the galaxy. So, I mean, I can't really say they're not good at what they do. Like,
when you say them, do you mean him?
Yeah. It got the Empire's grand design, which was by Palpatine, essentially, the Emperor. It's always been about getting people into these precarious situations, and you see how that rolled to every level. And they use it in this prison where if you do your tasks well and you complete everything, they give you fucking flavor in your food. That is brilliant. So they're feeding you, you're getting your nutrition, but you want that fucking salt, hot sauce,
right?
You know, anything like that, a little bit of extra pep. You gotta be a fucking good worker. So that keeps people from rebelling or questioning the system, because now you're giving them something to work towards. That's fucking brilliant. Simple little things. And this is said by prisoners who come out, right? They've said this themselves. Even with the amenities that we perceive that they all have, they said that it's those little fucking things that they miss. Just being able to go out for a walk on your own, not being monitored, not being told when to shower, when to shit, when to shave. So they're taking it to an ultra micromanaging level. Like, you don't get fucking fit flavor in your food. That's fucked up.
No, I want to, and it's what? It's just like a liquid, like it's a flavorless smoothie or something.
Yeah, it's just like the basic nutrients that you need. So they're not technically doing anything inhumane. People are still getting their daily
Nobody
whatever.
said, like, I feel like in our day and age, like, it costs money to take the flavor out, and they're spending the money to take the flavor out so that they get better workers in turn, which seems dastardly, but it's genius.
It is very genius, because something that small, and yes, does it cost them money? Probably, but they fucking rule tons of star systems anyways, right? So that's probably just a drop in the bucket for them.
Right.
So they're losing a little bit, but the productivity, and you build loyalty, because then people that they had, the Snoke guy, right? The people they're incentivizing to keep everybody else in line, that kind of loyalty it has more value than any money, especially in a place like that, because now you don't really have to worry about security, right? Because you got people conditioned. And that's the big part. And it's like you said, it's fucking genius. Like, I almost want to take notes for when I take over the world. Like, that's a fucking brilliant thing. I'm like, take flavor away from food.
So let's keep talking about the prison thing before we move on to anything else. So that prisoner either killed himself or whatever when he fell on the floor, right?
Yep.
So they pan back to Andor, and he has a weird look on his face. Like, he has an idea of how to escape already, doesn't he?
I'm thinking, so Andor, we already know, is kind of a sketchy motherfucker to begin with, right? And he's insinuated this wasn't his first charge. I'm almost guessing that, like, maybe if it's a light sentence, he'll serve it out, but something heavier, he just fucking escapes. Like, he strikes. The best way I could put him and this might be blasphemy to some people, but I really consider him like a Han Solo.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he really earned that title. Like a yeah, because he kills people too. I was going to say a Han Solo that kills people, but fucking Han Solo kills people too. So, like, him and Han
This
Solo.
is the Solo they wanted in the movie.
You know what's fucking hilarious? They tried to do the Han Solo prequel, which nobody wanted, right? And and they did a shittier job doing a younger version, right? But they had this great character ready, who essentially is Han Solo before Han Solo, right? Well written, greatly done, and it proves you could do a separate character, give him the traits, but make him his own person. And you got, it's like he's getting to that level for me where I feel like I can compare him to Han Solo because he really is everything he does. He's got that moral gray line. He's shady, but you love him. You want to see him escape, right? I've gotten to a point where, remember when we first started reviewing this, I said, fuck Andor, I fucking hate him. I'm gonna give this show one episode. Fuck it. And here we are, episode 8?
That didn't last long.
No, it didn't. Because, like we said, the writing is so good. And it's almost like they took the best qualities of Han Solo, but they knew not to make a copy, right? But they gave him those little qualities where you could almost be like, oh, this is like the Solo before Solo. This motherfucker was doing stuff that Han Solo would do, but then we're going to get the version that lives. But it's that spirit, right? The scoundrel, the guy who doesn't really have a cause.
He's a smuggler.
Yeah, he's a smuggler. He likes to make his money and do his thing, but the rebellion is so powerful and the Empire's douchiness is so strong that he's like, fuck these guys. I can fuck these guys over, get paid.
Is there a reason you're keeping this comment up here?
Oh, yeah. So Jeannie said at Mr. Sott's Phantom Zone, I meant just in engineering terms, I agree with you about the manipulation is on point. Yeah. Yeah, engineering terms, I agree.
It's an unbelievably sanitary prison as well, so they get points for that too.
Dude,
did you see any dirt?
No, that was clean.
He's like, your cell gets cleaned while you're at work for you, and I was like,
and
I'll be working my ass off for that flavor.
That is the brilliance of the prison that they built, is that they are almost giving them the incentive, like, you don't have to clean your fucking cell. That's fucking, dude, that's awesome.
Well, I do like when they get, like he says it, it's up to you how enjoyable your stay will be. And then every scene after that, every single one in the prison, if I remember correctly, shows a choice that can be made on how your life can be good or bad. They're like, well, you can do this, or you can do this. And they're like, oh, well, what happens if I don't do that? Well, you get zapped.
That was like,
we're doing a 39-minute speed build. Who's ever the slowest is getting fried. And every time they say fried, I think, wait, are they going to kill all these people? But they're like, no. Just enough of a zapping to fuck you up.
Yeah.
But not fuck you up. Right. Not enough to fuck you up that you won't be here tomorrow.
And you know what's fucked up? You get zapped like that,
enough
shit is going to hurt, and you're going to be slower.
Yep. It's fucked up.
So it's like weeding out. It's brilliant.
No, it's like, I don't know what it's from, but I hear Dan Bongino say it all the time. The beatings will continue until morale improves.
So, I mean, God, there's just so much. And now, away from the prison, we see once again.
Oh, yeah. Fucking, what's up with that fucking shower system?
Dude, yes.
That was weird. Like, I know that, okay, in the regular prison, it's a mass shower too, but they were really cramming a bunch of naked guys into one area.
I was like, Bro, I was in the military, you know, and I know about them showers you gotta take with,
Yep.
but I felt uncomfortable watching. I was like,
I was like,
dude,
you're standing like shoulder to shoulder.
I was like, oh my God.
And if
Like,
you're standing shoulder to shoulder, that means the guy behind you is standing pretty close too.
yeah, talk like we had this joke in the service, nut to butt. That's how close they wanted you to be.
Right.
It's
But Carrie, she says, massive shower with no soap. Thank God there's no soap because then you don't have to risk dropping it.
oh yeah, I was thinking that too because I was like, dude, if they wanted to rape you, it would not be that fucking hard. That's like, oh my God, like this. I'm just spoiler alert. I'm giving this a really high rating, but just the realism and how they tailor it to the Star Wars universe. I mean, okay, I don't know how you feel
And
right
they
now, but
let
I'm gonna say
Andy
it.
Serkis play an actual good character.
Yes, dude.
I didn't know he
Okay,
was going to be in the show, and he popped up on screen, and I went, "You die."
dude. I was so fucking surprised. I was like, that wasn't an. See, that's how you do a cameo. They did not announce it at all. He
I
just
am
fucking
so
appears as a random inmate. PB shower room was 33.
33.
Yeah. Yeah. So, a great guest star appearance by
But he's
Andy
only going to
Serkis.
be in one episode.
I mean, I don't know.
I assume he's going to be at least in the next episode before the arc.
I'm thinking next episode too, but
But
it's
then
crazy.
he'll be out of the prison, or he'll get out at the very end of the episode. I guess
Or
that's possible.
they're gonna kill off Andy Serkis. He'll do. You know how he likes to die.
I'm afraid that not enough happened in the episode unless the next episode starts with him going, well, here's my plan of how to escape so far. Like just kind of running through it to himself, because I assume he's not going to tell anybody else in the prison. I wouldn't fucking tell anybody else in the prison. That seems scary.
No,
so I'm not doing that.
A lot of the feeling I got is he's coming in new.
I don't know.
Feel
like
conditioned.
This arc is a prison escape arc. So are they going to be able to do all of that in one episode?
I mean, I would doubt them, but we said that about the heist, and that was the fucking best episode. And I mean, they really didn't have much time, but yet we got invested in all those characters. And what? They did it over 2 episodes. And when you really think about it, we're not supposed to get invested in any of the prisoners. We're wondering how the fuck is Andor going to escape? And maybe Andy Serkis, because, you know, it's fucking Andy Serkis. So, like, those are the only really 2 pieces in this. So, for me, the interesting part is seeing, we know Andor's got a plan, but I think the next episode is going to be, has he been building his plan this whole time? And are they going to like go back through? So they've done a train heist. They're going to do a prison escape. And whatever the fuck is next. Like I
train heist.
Well, yeah. Okay. Transporter, whatever. I take it Old West terms, cowboy hat.
Okay. That so was like what would you call the first 3 episodes?
The introduction, getting to know you. Getting to know the character.
That's where I didn't know if there was going to be like some fancy French word for it, but I would agree.
Yeah, you know,
I mean, like we said back then, it's essentially just an extended pilot. Like, what do you think about? We could be on the 3rd Andor movie right now.
Like, it's so crazy to me that this.
Like when you go back and rewatch this, you're gonna end up rewatching the show in 3 episode chunks.
Yeah, and literally you could stop on episode 3, take a break, and then watch the next 3. I didn't understand this format, but now I'm starting to warm up to it because it's like we know that the good shit is coming on 3.
Well, I mean, it's It's not way better than The Mandalorian. It's marginally better than The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian has the dark saber, and it's
The
my favorite.
Mandalorian has
Anyway, it is
action.
it's a way better setup than however the fuck they had the Book of Boba Fett set up. Like I still don't
Even
I don't
Obi-Wan.
understand.
I would say it's better than Obi-Wan because
Obi-Wan was what,
had
6 episodes?
6 episodes. Obi-Wan had great moments. But the problem with Obi-Wan was the writing wasn't strong all the way through.
No, it's
This
very
has
disjointed.
Yeah, it was very disjointed, and some shit didn't make sense at all. Vader was very all over the place. Where the characters are
The
consistent.
inconsistencies. Oh yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Everything else was inconsistent, and this is the first Star Wars show where I haven't seen anybody of consequence, like any of the recurring characters, that haven't been consistent.
yeah.
I'm just glad we don't have to deal with Mon Mothma's husband and daughter anymore.
Yeah. That's thank God.
Well, I don't remember seeing them for either of these episodes.
No. And I do like that they showed her enough to know that she's got shit going on.
Right, she's got a family.
She's got a family. She's got stuff moving pieces in the background, which we got in episode 7, but it doesn't detract from the story. This is just a fucking great written show. I'm really enjoying it.
All of it.
So what are we going to give?
Hold on. I feel like we're skipping over stuff. Like, what else happened in this episode?
I'm trying to think. Most of my thoughts was the prison.
Most of it's the prison. I mean, his ma's dying.
Oh yeah,
so everyone's looking for him now, I guess, because of that.
Which I was like, good for you joining the Rebels, because, like I said, and I called that in episode 7. I said she must be like sick or something, because she had that like I don't have much to live for kind of thing. So fuck it. And okay, so I'm calling this now. I think she's going to do something crazy before Andor escapes. Like some kind of suicide run or something.
Oh, like she's going to bust into some place and go Allahu Akbar and...
Like, I mean, okay, that sounds like some dark shit to say, but is it just me? Did you get that feeling like people who are dying, they want to do something grand before they go out? And she said,
oh, yeah.
She said she was a rebel at the end of 7. And I'm feeling like she's going to do something crazy before Andor can get to her. Like something's going to happen before he can get there.
Why didn't any of Luke Skywalker's marriages last? He always followed Obi-Wan's advice. Use divorce, Luke.
I don't know why, but that was a little bit funnier than those GP jokes.
That's a 9.
Oh yeah,
Carrie finds the top quality jokes.
Dude,
this fucking show, I swear to God, like, it's a 9. If it wouldn't have been for that fucking table, I'd probably be going 9.5.
Holy shit. Did we draft notes earlier? I was gonna say a fucking 9 too. My only
it's
issue,
definitely better than the previous episode.
Oh yeah. And this is the thing, folks. Even if we rate something 8 and then something 9.
Dude. Ooh. Question after you finish your thought.
Even though we rate something 8 and then something 9, I just want to make this clear so we're crystal. And we'll get into the next greatest show on streaming right now. But everything that happens in this show is quality. We're really just nitpicking to be fair
Oh,
and
well, you gotta say stuff that you don't
accurate.
like.
Yeah, it's critiques to help the show, but this writing is fucking quality. Like Andor is surprisingly
Like, okay,
well written, and it's
what
hard. It's
what
hard for
was
me to try to
what
downrate
was
it.
what was your favorite scene in this episode?
The torture. I didn't think they had the balls to show that.
The torture.
Yeah, they kind of like hint at it, but there's like a little torture scene and it closed the door. I was like, and you could hear that dude screaming. I was like, are they torturing someone? And I was just like, holy shit! Like it's
Oh,
it was that feeling like they
oh, you talking about when we catch like the tail end of the torture, and then they take the guy out of the room, pack or
yes
something,
yes
and they
that
bring
was
Bix into the room.
yes that was to
Okay.
me. That was the most effective PG-13 method. Well, okay, we talk about this all the time, right? Especially with the way Disney does stuff. I could tell it was mandated that they couldn't show the whole thing. But to me, it was so and maybe it's just me. I don't know if you feel the same way, but it was so it was much more creepy seeing the after than just seeing us watch the guy get tortured. Just the way they shot it and everything. And I was like, oh shit. Because before that, right, there's this pleasant face on everything. Like even the
Yep.
guy's like, oh, you work and you get this. We're all friends here. It's okay. And then it's like there's dark shit happening. I don't know. I just thought it was so perfect to like, wow, these motherfuckers are insidious. Like,
Okay, so
and Andor's just looking like, what the fuck?
I got their insidiousness from a different scene, from a different angle, but it is still my favorite. And I feel like that's probably why now, with how you've described that, is because we were getting a different angle. When angry blonde bitch is, I guess, interrogating that one guy or whatever, like
Yep.
what's not in the report? What's not in the report? I was like, what the fuck kind of question is that? Why don't you ask me a question? What do you mean, what's not in? My entire fucking life ain't in the report. Like, are you shitting me? Like, my favorite color is turquoise. That's not in the report. Like, what are you looking for with this, the vaguest of all questions? And then I love his response. I don't know. I didn't read the report. What, you signed it? And he's like, yeah, I was told that I had to sign it. And then away it went. I didn't write that fucking report.
Yeah, it was.
And then, so he gives her literally everything that she asked for. And he says, hey, I can be a valuable asset. And she's like, shut your fucking mouth and mind your business. Don't fucking slow me down ever again. And fucks off. And I was like, you got all this fucking help from this guy, and you're just like, yeah, that was nice of you. Leave me the fuck alone. Like, they're going to turn him into a rebel.
Yeah,
100%. It's happening.
She said at Mr. Sott's Phantom Zone, insidious. I do not think that word means
what you think it means.
I think I said it in the right context.
Oh, let's double check with the Google.
Yeah, Google's never wrong. But yeah, getting back to what you were saying after.
Well, Google's going to take me to the dictionary definition guy.
But for me,
the dictionary definition is 2010 horror thriller lasting an hour and 43 minutes.
Jesus Christ. That's
Love you, Google. Love you, Google.
Google comes through again. I see, that's the thing that gets me about the show is, for me, like, yeah, see, you got that scene for you resonated, but for me, it was just that shot afterwards was so much more impactful because it's like it's so crazy that they don't have to show what's happening
I
for
feel
you to
like
get that.
okay. I feel like you used it like correct with either definition. It says proceeding in a gradual, subtle way, but with harmful effects. That is
Yeah.
correct. The second one is treacherous, crafty. Like,
Yeah, I think
that's exactly
JD
right,
Davis
is
is
it
just
not?
trolling me.
That's also possible. People do love Inigo Montoya.
But yeah, but you see what I'm saying though, right? You get like it's just
Absolutely.
the shots in this show are so well done that it makes like
Ooh, what
especially
was what was going on with the fucking hand signals out the window? Like bring in the lefty? What was going on there? You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
When
I have no
everybody's
clue.
yeah, when everyone's standing in the hallway, I was like, there's some secret communication shit going on here, and he's gonna figure out what the hell's going on because he seems like if he's not, he's definitely one of the smartest people in the entire prison, including the guards.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. When they're shooting Andor, you could always tell he's like looking around and scoping everything out. He's a
Every
very
time.
oh yeah, he's a very perceptive character. He is like 100% looking around and reading everything and looking at any type of weakness, anything that they do regularly to try to find a flaw in the system. And I just think it's such it's so just well done. Yeah, I'm at a 9. And to be honest with you, I'm only at a 9 because I'm now going by that rule that everything can't be a 10. But now that we've been talking about it, like the thing with the whole 777, and then we only got 6, that could be a minor deduction. And, just once again, action is a little bit
No, that's
slower.
a minor deduction, and if I can't remember everything about the show to that point, I don't know how I can give it a 10 because if it was that good, I would have watched it again already. If it was a 10, I would have watched it again.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
And like, and don't get me wrong, I'm going to
So
rewatch it again.
now I will give you an example. Iron Man, the original film, 10.
I mean, I'd go
I,
there with you.
I
Yeah.
got
Definitely.
done watching the movie and I watched the movie again.
I mean, I'd even say for me, Shang-Chi is a 9.5. Not a 10 because there is some stupid
Ooh.
shit I don't like, but a 9
It's
because
my
Trevor.
favorite. It's my favorite Dragon Ball movie.
Trevor. It's
Trevor,
all you
9.5. 9.5.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that little fucking cute thing Philip.
Philip. It doesn't have a face. Shh. He's self-conscious.
Yeah, Civil War, definitely a 10, Janie Davis.
There's a 70% chance that we'll survive.
Oh,
excuse
man.
me, 17.
She said Scruffy looking like it.
Looking
Yep, I have the
scruffy
Nerf herder
looking
look.
Nerf herder.
Hey, we don't use those slangs on this channel. So we agree.
Apparently,
We have,
Janie Davis is pro like Americans just killing each other at random. She goes Civil War 10, which is weird to say as an Australian. Like, you have an opinion on our Civil War?
I mean, didn't they have a Civil War with the emus?
Does that count? I feel like that's an uncivil war.
Dude, when Stevie told me about that,
those motherfuckers don't play fair, and the birds are pretty dastardly.
dude, when he told me that the Australian people were being fucking legitimately pushed back by the emus, I was cracking up. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck to say. Like, those are some vicious birds. They're definitely not bald eagles. Wouldn't do that.
Excuse me.
So let's move from one great show
I
to
do
the
think
next.
that it's interesting. Hold on, before we move on, I do find it interesting that both of our scenes that we liked are scenes that paint the Empire and its, what do I want to say, hierarchy. Yes, the hierarchy as everybody out for themselves.
That is interesting, and it is a lot of
Everybody
these.
is just trying to move up the ladder without working with anyone.
And I think what makes it so interesting is that fact that the Empire, uh, because when you think about it, like in the movies, it's very interesting because we never saw this. We never saw, like, we saw Palpatine, right, take control, but we're like, how did people stay under this rule? And it's easy. He did what he did with the Jedi. He sowed mistrust and confusion, but with the minions, and he's like, "Go ahead, fight for your scraps." And it's a brilliant and effective plan, right? Nobody's thinking about how fucked up the Empire is as a concept because they're so busy trying to get ahead and keep their family alive. It's actually a really brilliant way of running this massive thing where he doesn't have to worry about it because he knows everybody wants that top position for what? And really, when you think about it, for what? The
I don't
constant
know.
fear of threat elevates.
Just so you can piss on other people.
I mean, could you imagine working for fucking Lord Vader?
I mean, it makes sense why everybody is at the upper echelons of the Empire, why they're so evil. Like, how many of their own people did they kill to get there?
And that's,
I mean, that's fucked up.
So
Because it was in the previous episode, though, but this parlays into that when the blonde chick brought up everything she brought up, and whoever's in charge at their giant freaking round table, I don't remember the old guy's name, right? You know who I'm talking about? And
yeah,
he goes,
that old dude who shot her down the first time.
He's like, "Oh, good work. I was essentially waiting for you to bring me the specifics on how these things that you've been uppity about for the last fucking month are like affecting operations. Now watch your back." And I was like, "Watch your back from what? I thought we were on the same team." None of them are on the same team.
It's like, no, because they see it now. It's like, oh, this chick is smart. She could be running shit and I'll be replaced. And that mentality, yes, does it create a hostile work environment?
Well,
yeah.
maybe a little bit.
But it also makes everybody productive and keeps them in line because
Sharp,
you're constantly watching your
too.
ass.
You gotta watch your ass from front and back. It keeps them all sharp. Like, the people who aren't on their toes die. The people who are on their toes get promoted. So therefore, you get the sharpest knives at the top of the fucking heap.
Yeah, it's almost like they're playing the Game of Thrones.
There was no dragon in Andor. I'm still waiting for that. You know where there was a fucking dragon?
Where?
At the end of episode 9.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Can we jump to that?
So
like, we can still talk about the whole episode, but I would like to just jump to that real quick because I was sitting there watching the entire episode and I was like, okay, I saw what the preview was after episode 8 for this episode. And I'm sitting there watching it and I was like, are we not getting a big battle then? Because I don't think that it's going to happen if they didn't allude to it at all in the preview for the episode. And now I'm sitting here watching the episode. I was like, okay, is anything big going to happen? Out the fucking floor with a massive goddamn dragon. How many people did she kill in that one move alone? But then decides not to kill the fucking king.
So yeah, we got the big dragon revealed, and I said the same thing. And so, and I'm gonna get to this when we get to our ratings. Both 9 and 10 suffer from the same thing for me, and only one thing, and it's a small nitpick.
Suffering. Are you sure you're not talking about Star Wars?
Rhaenyra's, whatever. and that other chick.
The
They,
queen and the queen's aunt. Is that
yeah,
what you mean?
yeah, they are different in the book. They're much more vicious. They changed their character for the show, and I feel like the changes really hurt the characters because, like you said, she comes up with this big fucking dragon, right? Scares the shit out of people. Fucking probably killed a
She
couple of people.
I'm thinking she killed at least a few dozen. They were packed in there, and she just busted through the floor. So you got to think about the people that were probably killed on impact, and then the people around the edge that a giant fucking boulder fell on them, and they got crushed to death. And not to mention, you have that third wave of people who either got hurt in the stampede, or got like a fucking cut on their goddamn leg, and now it's going to be infected, and they're going to die because it's super
Because,
old.
medicine.
Right.
And that's my issue with this is, and then at the last minute is like, I'm gonna let the king sit there. And I'm just like, see, and maybe it's just I got spoiled from Game of Thrones, right? But I was like, if that was Cersei or somebody else, all those motherfuckers
Good
would be
night,
dead.
Jamie.
Yeah, she would have lit that fucker on fire and sat in that fucking throne. And unlike fucking Game of Thrones, she wouldn't have lit the throne on fire because dragons aren't fucking sentient, whatever. Anyways,
Hope you
uh,
feel better soon, Jelly.
so it was a little annoying and brought it down a point for me because, like you said, we were watching the episode, and everything is good, and we'll get to that, and moving along pretty well. And then you get that one epic scene, but then she's like, I'm not going to kill the king. I'll just let things go the way they are. And it's like, but why? You had them. Like, people were panicking. You busted through the fucking floor. You already made your grand entrance. Why not take it the whole way? And I understand they're setting up.
Give us the little bit of cock tease about the dragon roaring, and I was like, "Oh, you spit fire? You spit fire? You spit fire? Dracarys? Dracarys?"
I was waiting. Yep, I was waiting. So for me, that was a point deduction because I was just like, I would have lit those motherfuckers on fire. I will walk through the fire, sat on the throne. Like,
okay, now I was definitely caught up in the episode because the dragon popping up surprised me. And then I said, like, it pops through the floor, and I was like, what the, like, in the moment, like, two snaps of her fingers, I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, did Cersei put something underneath here and blow it up again? Like, what the hell? And I was like, oh shit, it's a dragon. And I was like, oh yeah, who dragons? Oh yeah, she snuck away. Like, it
yeah,
all fucking connected for me in, 2-3 seconds. And I was like, fuck, man, how did you forget that she just snuck away? And how did you forget that she was sneaking away to get to her dragon, to the point where when it popped through the floor, you were surprised by it for a moment. And then you're like, oh, yeah. I feel like, at least to me, either I'm stupid, or, because that's definitely a possibility. This is not, let's not go too far. Or that's excellent writing.
yeah, and that's the thing. That's my issue with how some of the characters act.
Or
And,
actually,
and
excellent writing and directing.
yes, there's such good, excellent writing in this show, and just brilliant directing that when a character does something out of place, you really notice it because they write the show so well. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'd rather be picking things out because I care, like, hey, you guys are doing this shit so good that when you do something even small, it stands out because the writing is so good that it's like, okay, that was a cool visual. It made sense to what was going on because she snuck away, she went to get her dragon or whatever. Boom. But I just can't get over, like with you had the 7 thing for Andor. For me, that was my big gripe. Like, she's playing the game but not committing. And people die who don't commit to the Game of Thrones. We've seen this. Like, you don't.
Yep.
It's like Breaking Bad. There's a great part in Breaking Bad where Jonathan Banks, who plays one of the main characters. Fuck, I'm forgetting right
Well,
now.
it's
But
like what
he
Game of
says,
Thrones. You either win or you die, and you can't win without playing. So if you ain't gonna play, you're dead.
yeah, and in Breaking Bad, they said you don't take any half measures, and I feel like she's been taking half measures for these people, and she pays for it, and we'll get to 10, but she pays for that mistake by letting this shit go. And we're gonna get to 10 because I have some issues with that too. But like, it's like it feels like they're just writing it to give her these flaws so that we can
I
identify
mean,
more. But it pisses me off more because it doesn't
like
feel like something that would be done.
it's been like what, a week and a half now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember everything that happens in episode 9 because I know at the end of episode 8 is when the king dies. So the king is dead, and they're like,
9 is the
we
race.
gotta we gotta figure 9 is the race to find Aegon.
Yeah, that's the race to find Aegon and the brown coats or whatever versus the green people.
I thought it was.
One, they were both looking
I
for
thought it was.
Aegon, and he
I
hid
thought
under
it
the
was.
fucking
I
table.
thought it was black versus green.
Yeah, black. I'm sorry, dude. Black, brown, and dark brown.
You and your colors.
Hey, I know my hat's black. Anyways, that to me is a black color. They had more of this brownish black that you see on the brim of my hat. That's what it looked like to me. But anyways, it was the race between the two of them to find Aegon, who's supposed to take over. And we'll get to that in 10 because that gets really fucking interesting and kind of pointless and funny because one of my favorite characters does an oopsie.
So did you think? I didn't think that everything was going to move that fast. I was like, oh, they're going to find him, and then like I thought that's where the episode was going to end. Like they were going to fill enough time so that the finding of him was the end. And I was like, holy fuck, we're going all the way to the crowning. Like we're doing all this in one episode. Holy shit, we're moving right along, and then dragon.
Yeah, so big points for the dragon, but then I take the point back because it doesn't make sense to her character. Like I don't know. I feel like they made a creative choice because in the book she does something different. And I know it's not the same as the book.
Tell me
I
what
get it.
happened in the book if we're past that point.
In the book, she just fucking takes the throne and then starts a war.
Who does?
Rhaenyra.
In what fashion? Because she's not even on the fucking continent or mainland or whatever.
Oh yeah. In the book, they're placed differently. She fucking takes the throne and she's more ruthless. She's actually a real bitch in the book.
Interesting.
She's not likable at all. She's like Cersei, but back in this time.
I mean, I don't think that she's that likable. She has become more likable than she was at the beginning. She was like a spoiled fucking brat at the very beginning. And then she got that little bit older, and then I was like, now it's just creepy because you're constantly wanting to have sex with your uncle. And then you had sex with your uncle, and I was like, this show's definitely made for Zod. Anyway, not my bag.
Is it really? Okay, never mind. We're not going to get into that.
No, we don't have to get into the incest, even though like it's constant incest now. They're married to each other.
But I mean, it's dragons and the bloodlines. They gotta keep the bloodline pure. Whatever.
Why don't they have a bunch of? Where are all the? Oh, Janie's not here. Where are all the retards? Like if you're if you've been incesting each other for hundreds, if not thousands of years, where are all the birth defects?
Yeah.
Did they just murder them immediately? Like, nope, not good enough.
Well, in Sparta, that's what they did. Like, I was just playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and they throw your ass
Like,
off a cliff if you had like a defect or
if
you know
they
a
were if they
hangnail.
were still in old Valyria and some silver-haired goddess, she's not a silver-haired goddess. She's a very angry woman, but she's keeping it together nicely. I'll give her credit for that. Anyway, that's not the point. Popped out some kid with dark fucking hair. They'd been that motherfucker.
Oh yeah,
They'd
without
be
a doubt.
like, oh, like the head would pop out and they'd be like, not silver hair, and pull the rest out and in the bin. Because this is not a true bloodline. I'd be like, when did the milkman come?
Yeah, and I find that interesting about this timeline. They're not as like down on that as when we got to give GOT original kind of credit because
Every
they at
boy
least
gets the hair of his father. That's like a thing in Game of Thrones.
they wrote it in a fucking book. You couldn't even like fake that shit. They had everybody's
Like,
bloodline, family
that's
tree.
that's been a thing. That was a thing in the first one. That's why everyone's like, Cersei, how come your children don't have dark Baratheon hair? Why do they have this light blonde or even maybe a little reddish, gingerish, strawberry blonde hair? That looks like Lannister hair, you
And she was
fucking
like,
cunt. She's like, no, it's a trueborn king. It's a trueborn king. Look, he's the stag. And I was like, no, he's a lion who is a few fries short of a Happy Meal.
and then she was like, well, here's the gallows.
Next challenger, please.
So episode
I
9
really
was
wanted to
just
see her
basically
fight a zombie. What a
so
disappointment.
episode 9 was just basically a hunt. I thought it was pretty
It was
tense.
a hunt and crowning.
And I gotta say too, to your point, it moved fast. I don't think they built a lot of tension around the two factions. I would have liked to seen like little skirmishes where like one maybe had an idea where the kid was, and then they just battled. So there was a little bit of a deduction from there. I'd say this episode for me was a lot of setup leading to 10, and I'll get to 10 because 10's got a better rating for me. But honestly, I was at about a 7.5, maybe an 8 for the dragon. But yeah, I was disappointed with they could have did so much. Okay, remember in Game of Thrones season 1 when Ned Stark had the skirmish with Jaime in the
Stabbed him
market?
in the leg.
Yeah, and he said, "I'm not going to kill you because it would be dishonorable." And
because he's in the Kingsguard.
now, look, there's not a big battle, right? It's not like a battle of the bastard, but there was so much tension because you were like, is Jaime going to kill him? Is he going to take him out now? There was a lot of like tension around that scene. And then he just like walks away and just goes about his day. And I felt like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I felt like this episode could have had that with these two opposite factions looking for Aegon. They could have played off that, but it didn't have that, and it was kind of disappointing because they could have did so much with, like maybe you had little skirmishes here or there while they were trying to find him, and you could have had a little battle scene, not nothing big, but like something like season 1 where you had a battle in a market or something like that, and they draw swords, but nothing really comes of it, and the only thing that we get was the dragon. And don't get me wrong, the dragon was fucking awesome. But then when you think about the logistics of that, the dragon comes, but then she's like, I'll just let the king be crowned or whatever. And I was like, what? So you burst to the floor, you kill all these people.
She could have killed all of them together. Like all the children were there. The queen was there. The hand was. You just start from scratch. Be like, so I just left King's Landing and I killed everyone for you. So now we can go back there. Nope. You hop on your dragon. I'll get back on my dragon. We'll fly over to King's Landing. You'll sit on the throne. Life will be good. Instead, she was like, roar. Fuck off.
And that pissed me off because I was like, you have the craziest person backing you, my favorite character. You have that motherfucker just ready to go, right?
He knows how to war too.
You could have won. She didn't even have to have a war. She could have wiped everyone out right there.
No, she could have.
Won.
Right, but it's stuff like that. It's how we know that she would have been a good queen back in the day.
And that's the thing that brought it down for me, because I felt like it wasn't the character making the choice, but the writers trying to make her a little bit more likable. But it doesn't work because we already know she's a bitch. So it's like it feels like something they put in because I know the book and it doesn't happen like that in the book, but it feels like just something put in so that people can identify with her more. And it's almost feels like trying to make another Daenerys, and it doesn't work because Daenerys earned all of that. We saw the fucked up shit she went through, and by the time she got to killing the slavers and stuff, we were like, yeah, fuck them. Burn those motherfuckers alive. Right. Hang them up on posts. You know?
You're doing it right. Yeah, freedom.
Freedom, yeah. Breaker of chains. Woo! People got fucking tattoos. Like, and I don't see, like, the writing's got a good start. It's good stepping stone, and I can see it only getting better. I'm not saying that it's like bad writing. Like, it's great writing. There's really good stuff. It's just like they haven't found, like, Andor, because we're doing both. They haven't found that good pace that Andor has. Like, take episodes 7 and 8, right? Episode 7 happened. We were both lower on that one, but episode 8 shot up. It's like they know how to build that tension, and Game of Thrones hasn't found that footing yet to build it consistently, like we were talking about. It's very mixed, and some decisions that are made are kind of weird, and that's the only thing that threw me off about this episode.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my one complaint. Did you have any complaints, or do you feel like I felt, or are you a little bit higher on this episode?
Oh, I feel like I'm a little bit higher. Like, I was disappointed, especially at the time, that she didn't kill everybody. But then when you do get to episode 10, she gives her reason as to why she didn't kill everybody. And I went, okay, do you have like some Stark blood in you or something like that? I'm not.
That was a very Stark move. Yeah, we'll get to
a very Stark move. Like, I could fucking kill you and solve all of our problems right fucking now, but I have honor and you guys are assholes. And then she left. I was like, okay, this is the Game of Thrones.
And we know what happened.
You're in a house on the dragon. Like, get some, bitch. Like, you had no problem bursting through the floor and killing all kinds of common man, but you're like, I can't do it to these bullshit children.
Yeah, it's like, and like I said, like, talking about it even more, like, that's why I'm comfortable with my 7.5, because it's like, it doesn't feel very in character to what should have happened.
I'm only going slightly higher. I'm only going with an 8.
Oh, see,
like, this episode was only an 8. That episode was only an 8.
And I'm guessing you're going an 8 because of the dragon.
Take off points for it would have been lower without the dragon. Like, it was a low episode because I was like, like, what are we waiting for? Like, we got the one, I guess, semi-nice sword battle between either Eric or Eric. I don't know which one it was, and Kristen Cole.
Yep.
Like, that was a nice little sword battle. That was good. It had some intrigue behind it as well, and a little bit of, I don't want to be the king. He's like, well, you're not getting an argument from me. I was like, is he gonna fucking kill him? Like, right now, just, oh shit, he took one to the jugular, Mom. Sorry about that. I'm king now.
I was like,
this is super easy. Nobody would ever see it. Even like nobody's even fucking looking. They're like in the middle of fucking town. Everybody goddamn abandoned them. I was like, okay. And then I was sitting there waiting for like something big to happen because usually you get the battle in episode 9. Apparently, we got some of the battle in episode 10. But I was like, well, when the fuck is something like big gonna happen? And then they crown the king, and I was like, oh, so that's the big moment for the fucking dragon.
and that's why I'm so conflicted, because a lot of the,
No, it would have been
like I
like a
said,
6. It would have been like a 6 if that dragon wouldn't have shown up.
yeah, and that's what brought up to 7.5 for me. And I love the dragon,
Like,
but it wasn't enough to get me.
Right.
It wasn't enough to get an 8 because I just didn't like the logistics of how it happened and what
Right,
happened afterwards.
Okay, so let's say the episode ends right when he gets crowned king. What number are you giving it? Are you going down to a 5.5? Because I dropped 2 points off without that dragon showing up.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely with you with that, because then it's really
Okay.
nothing happened, and the suspense they could have built with these two people looking for each other, and the kid, and he was hiding under a fucking table. I found that funny, but also annoying.
It was so dumb.
Because I'm like, no one thought to check the fucking table first.
Like he was in the fucking Red Keep somewhere. I don't know exactly what room it was. That's where it was, and I was like, oh my god, he was there the whole fucking time.
It was like you said, literally people were ready to go to war, kill each other, and this motherfucker's hiding underneath the table, and no one thought to check the rooms in the fucking Right Keep. You know, it's a big fucking place. He's a kid. You got to think like a kid. A kid ain't going to fucking hide in the world. He's going to go where he knows. And like the astronomical, see, that's what I'm saying when my points being lowered. See, I'm being like you, but just because I love Game of Thrones so much.
You're being like me?
Yeah, with the logistics. Nitpicky with the logistics. Because it's just like, okay, as a father too, the first place I would have looked is inside the fucking castle, because kids think simple. They're not going to go to where they don't know. They're going to hide where they're most comfortable. And 9 out of 10 times, they're probably going to hide someplace where you know where they are. You're just not thinking of it at the time. So I refuse to think they'd send fucking armies out into the fucking world instead of just searching the fucking castle.
Yeah, like even on Kenobi, they search the entire house for Leia before they look outside.
Yeah, that's the first place. As a parent, that's the first place you look, is like, okay, let me go all through the house and see if they're just like hiding in a closet or something like that. And the fact that nobody, including his fucking parents, didn't think to look in the fucking keep, and that's what I mean. It felt like just setting up so they can do this. Like, don't get me wrong, a lot of shots, some good skirmishes or whatever, but just so they can do that, and they didn't know how to. So they were like, "Oh, he was hiding under the table the whole time." And yes, it is funny, and it's a kid thing to do. But then when you look at the rest of the episode, logistically, it doesn't make sense why the grown-ups wouldn't fucking look there first. These are just, and I know it's a nitpick, but it's because I love this show so much. I want it to do really good, and it's doing great. I don't want them to do stupid things, because that's what leads to season 8. Don't take shortcuts, because that's how we got where we got with the last season of Game of Thrones. And I get terrified because this show is so good. I get terrified we're going to have a D&D situation. Like, I don't think the writers are on that level. And they seem very
I am terrified that that's exactly what's going to happen, because this season is just as good as season 1 of Game of Thrones.
Exactly. And we know, like,
and we know what happened at the end of that fucking series.
So it's like, if we're being critical, it's because we just don't want good stuff to get wrong.
It was, I would say, more predictable, because watching season 1 of Game of Thrones, like, after being stabbed in the leg, I was like, oh, well, something bad already happened to him. And they're like, oh, now we're going to cut your head off. I was like, they're not actually going to cut Ned Stark's head off. Like, that ain't going to happen. That's crazy. I was like, I understand it's Sean Bean, but he's going to last more than a season. I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, I knew
But
he
at the
was going
start
to
of
get
this,
killed.
at the start of this, well, not at the start of this episode. It's not at the very beginning. Because she sends her two sons out to be emissaries wherever the fuck they're going to talk to Baratheon and is it the Vale?
The
Is that
Veil,
where the
yeah.
other one was going? Okay. So that's where they sent the two sons on their dragons to. And as soon as he landed at Storm's End and I saw Vagar on the outside of the castle, I went, you're getting fucking eaten. I said it out loud.
I was like,
holy fuck, I know what's happening now. It's not even a question.
I'll take it further. As soon as they sent them, I didn't know who until, like you said, they got to Storm's End, but I said one of them is going to die.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know which one.
I thought one of them was going to die. That is correct. I had that exact same thought. I didn't know which one because I was like, okay, we're probably not going to follow both at the same time here because they literally said one takes longer than the other, and then they're like, okay, well, since this one takes longer, I was like, okay, well, I guess it's you then.
So when they started, and then they did the prayer. And once again, this is my point deduction for this episode because it was predictable who was going to die, but it's only a minor. And spoiler, I still rate this pretty high because the shit that happens in this episode.
I did not predict stillbirth.
No. So let's go to that first. Holy shit.
That scene was wild.
That was crazy. I give them credit. They have balls.
I don't think that happened in the moment. I think that it was already still like you've seen that the cord was around its neck.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling it'd been like that for like a week, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know how long it takes for your body, because I'm not a woman. And obviously it's going to be different for everybody anyway, but you get a general idea. Like once the baby inside you is dead for so long, it just is going to come out no matter what week you're at. Like you could be at week 15, you could be at week 35. If it dies in there, it's not just going to stay in there till term.
So that lady definitely took an L a lot in this episode, which will lead to something we'll talk about at the ending. But we said, oh, walking away.
You do realize do you know if that baby was a boy?
I believe the baby was a boy.
Which means that it would have been King.
Yep. And we had
the other sons. Daemon would have been like black hair.
Yep. My boy Daemon
is King. Yeah,
so exactly. Let's talk. Oh my god, I gotta skip to the end.
Dude, fucking.
So MVP, fucking Daemon is one of my favorite. I'm just gonna say it now in the Game of Thrones universe. I know it's a bold claim because I'm a big fan of Varys, and Cersei, but I gotta say Daemon's really won me over. This motherfucker has got to be one of Matt. What was his name? Matt, I forget, but Doctor Who guy, Morbius. Yes, Matt Smith. Great fucking actor. When he was cast in this role, me and a lot of other people said, Matt Smith, Doctor Who. I don't see him as this intimidating guy. Holy fucking shit, did he prove all of us wrong. He is the best part of this show. He says the shit everyone is thinking. And it's just like, I don't want him to die. I'm going to be pissed. Like, I know the books and I know what's going to happen. Hopefully, they said they're going to change some things up, but they're going to keep it pretty close to the books. And I hope he doesn't die. He's one of my fucking favorite characters right now. He is. And did you see that scene at the end when he eats him, right? the look on Matt Smith's eyes, like, I fucked up.
Oh yeah. He's like, maybe I shouldn't have choked the queen.
Because they said we don't control the
Like,
dragons.
for
We
him
just
not
ride them.
For him not. Oh, he said that?
No, the king. Okay, so, and I got this from another YouTuber when I was watching the reviews, because I like to see if they line up with what we do, and we're in that large group who agrees this is one of the best shows ever. There was a statement that the King Valerius said in the beginning where he was talking to the kid, and he was like, the kid's like, I want to have a dragon so I could do whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the king looks at him and goes, we ride the dragons. We don't control the dragons. So I think when that little wyvern dragon reared up and tried to defend itself, because there was a big fucking dragon, like, swooping past it, it antagonized the bigger dragon, and then I think
if he would have just left, instead of breathing fire at him, Vagar would not have taken out, I don't remember what boy it is, and I don't remember the name of the small dragon. All I know is that dragon is big. Like, the dragon that died is big, and the dragon that killed it is like the last fish at the end of the scene in The Phantom Menace when they're going through the planet core.
Dude, so let's talk about that shot. Oh my God, there's so much great stuff to talk about. That shot.
No, that's what I said. So he takes off, and I was like, fly faster, fly faster, fly faster, fly faster. I don't want this fucking dragon to die. Like, that fucking hurt watching. You watch these little fucking dragons. In Game of Thrones, you watch these little fucking dragons. You hatch like, oh, it's a little baby dragon. I want a baby dragon. And then the dragon grows up, and you're like, that motherfucker is just like stomping around, killing motherfuckers left. Like, he don't give a shit. He just burned this fucking kid and his sheep out in the field because he's out on some fucking bender. Like, what the fuck, Drogon? I don't understand what your problem is. Becomes the greatest fucking dragon. So this little dragon, which is still a big dragon, I was like, oh, fly faster, fly faster. And I was like, okay, you don't fly faster than the big dragon. So what you're gonna need to do is exactly what they did do. I was like, find a gorge, find a fucking gorge, or you're gonna fucking die. And they found a gorge, and I was like, oh, okay, we're safe. And I thought that what's his face? I don't know, Aemond. Right?
Amen. Yeah.
With the one eye.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, he gave up, and he's just kind of gliding along above the fucking cavern. I was like, okay, well, eventually he's just gonna like piss off because he can't see him no more. And then he gets away out of the fucking thing and up into the clouds. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he fucking turns around and goes and attacks the big dragon. And I was like, that was a mistake, guy. Why, just like you said, would you antagonize the big dragon? Do not just run away from the big dragon. You ain't got no fucking help right now. It's not like you got another 4 fucking raptors to help you take down this fucking Dominus Rex. And the T-Rex is a cat. Like, it's like 5-on-1. Yes, then you attack the big fucking dragon. You're just this tiny fucking dragon. You want to know how I know it's a tiny fucking dragon? Because it fit in the other dragon's fucking mouth. The entire thing. Chomp. I was like, oh, shit. Now, do we know for a fact that the boy is dead? Or did he fall into the water on one of the chunks of dragon?
Oh, yeah. He's fucking dead.
Okay.
I'm going to say he's dead. Dude.
Like, wait, is this a joke? When the bigger dragon ate the smaller dragon and kid, do you think he will admit what he's done?
Fuck.
You mean like he's going to go back and brag about it? Or do you think, oh, I don't know what happened?
Like, out of guilt, he'll be like, no. He's a badass, and he knows the ramifications of what he did, and that he essentially started a war.
Like, what are they going to know? Like, what are they going to know? They're going to know that they send their son to Storm's End. Everybody at Storm's End is going to say, yeah, we saw him take off in the dragon. And then we saw the other dragon take off. And then we saw the big dragon come back. Infer
And
what
what
you
happened
will.
between there?
Infer what you will. Like, how many things can kill a dragon?
Like,
Depends on how good of a sailor you are, apparently. How fucking dumb is that? Another thing that they ruined at the end of the show. Just flying along. You're like, oh, just shoot me right in the fucking neck. Why don't you? I'm not paying attention.
And TNT said she didn't see the armies, even though they had a fucking table of where the army was. She didn't see the armies as she was riding past
This
with
one
their
fucking
big
rock.
boats
Like,
and like 100
why-
fucking ships.
Why are you even in range of this type of stuff?
But
like, can that thing shoot above the fucking clouds?
I love Lemon
No.
Pies. Yes, Eamon would totally say this because he's my bro and he's a boss.
It's
He
like
said,
I was saying, let's go home, Vagar. I wasn't saying no, Vagar. I was saying home, Vagar. And then out of fucking nowhere, boom! Another dragon crashed right into my fucking mouth.
it was
I
crazy.
don't know. It was crazy. I was like, well, I didn't even know there was another dragon out here. What dragon is this?
And then I was like, oh shit, well, you know, sometimes in life.
What's up,
Shout out
Terrence?
to you, Terrence. I know you heard that somewhere.
Oh, yeah. He hears it all. T-Bot 3000.
But yeah, this to me was a higher episode for many reasons. Dude, the shots in this, dude, let's talk about that first shot. When they first show Valerius, the dragon, I thought of Godzilla, honestly. That's how big that
the
fucking
small
dragon
that fuck, I don't remember his fucking name. Rhaenyra's kids are riding. You talking about the one that got killed?
No, I'm talking about the one that did the killing. When they first show him on Storm's
Oh,
End.
when it's fucking raining out and he's
Yeah.
like, you don't see him initially because he's outside the castle because he don't fit inside the castle.
But you see the silhouette, and the first thing I thought,
didn't think anything. First thing I thought when I saw him, I was like, you're getting eaten by a dragon.
I was like, Godzilla. I seriously thought of Godzilla, like, and just the way they do the shot and everything. I like how they make the scale, dude. The CGI in this. Can we get a shout out like better than Marvel? They're actually paying them. Remember we said
Apparently, it gets you better quality too.
Remember we said in the beginning, one of our complaints was, the CGI looked a little rough for some of the dragons, and they weren't giving us enough. Holy shit, they make up for that.
Was clean. This was clean.
It was clean as shit. You like when I saw that, I was just like, if this is where you spent your budget, that was worth it. Remember we said in the beginning, like, look, if they're saving their budget, I want to see something spectacular. And I'll give them.
I want to see more. I want to see more of a actual dragon fight.
Now,
would you consider this a dragon fight?
Fuck no.
Like, I want to see
Dude,
I want to see the dragons fight like Godzilla and Kong.
Like, yeah, when I think of a dragon fight, I think one person spits fire, the other one does. They're dodging and barrel rolling in the air.
They're making the fire hit each other, and it either just fucking sits there. We see which dragon is. Like, I have seen Dragon Ball. I know how it works.
Oh yeah. I want to see some Dragon Ball Z shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking epic. And
but I gotta say,
how long? Do they know how long this entire series is meant to go completely? Like how many seasons, or are they still winging it?
Good news, George.
Sopranos said we're doing 5 seasons at the start, and then they did 5 seasons, and the story was over.
George has made enough for 4 seasons, and the showrunner says, unlike D&D, they want to respect that. That's why they did the time jumps, because they were explaining. The time jumps were because there's so much fucking material that they didn't want to really focus on because they wanted to get to the war. And I was like, if you're prepping us and you wanted to jump us to the war, because the war is like 2 books. So I'm actually glad that they wanted to get enough for us to understand the world and get us back into it, and then jump us right into the war, because that's what they want to focus on. And there's only like 3 books in this series. So, and to be honest with you, I'm not going to lie. Some of the adapting they did was better than the book, because these books are more of a history rather than like Game of Thrones, like a story. It's more of like a historical, like,
and then this happened, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
this happened.
So how they adapted it is good. They've done a really good job.
I know what you're
Giving
thinking,
that they're
Karen.
basically adapting like a history book into a live action show. So that's why they were speeding along, because a lot of it is appendices, and this land goes into this land, and this one is arguing with this one because of they stole their goats and all that stupid shit. So I'm glad that they did it, but like now they sped us up. So I'm really curious about season 2, because episode 10, let's talk about that final season where she goes, all right, we're going to war. I was like, oh, all right, now we get Cersei's, like, shit is going down. She's like, I tried to let you motherfuckers live, but I had a stillborn, and now my kid's dead. Fuck everybody. I'm going to war, which I think in episode 9, if she would have just did that, we probably would, the kid would still be alive or whatever, but whatever.
Wait, she did not. Wait, are you talking about what we just watched?
Yeah, the episode 10, she declared war.
She did not. Who?
The one chick there,
Targaryen or Green?
the Targaryen.
Okay, so Rhaenyra did not declare war. They get back, and then like the rest of the fucking scene is silent, and you just see her and Daemon walk towards the fireplace, and he obviously tells her what happened with the son getting killed, like in some fashion. I don't know what the details are. It doesn't matter. And then she just turns around crying. She doesn't say we're going to war.
Okay, I improv that, but I took that as that she's going to war after that. She turned around and has the look of, I'm going to burn them all. Exactly. That's so. I mean, okay, I improved it. She didn't say that word for word, but I took it as, when she has that look, PB, am I wrong in assuming she has that, I'm going to fucking kill everyone, that's it, the gloves are coming off, now shit's going down? Because I imagine when he gave that story, when he gave that story, you know he did some bullshit, and you know he was like, yeah, they ambushed him or something. I mean, come on. No version of that story was it, because up to this point, Aemon has been a crafty. He plays the game, and what was his goal?
And I was like, he's gonna cut himself in the eye, motherfucker.
Dude, I thought he was. He's like, I watch your. I was like, yo, is he gonna make him cut out his eye and give it to him?
And then I was, for a second there, I was like, ooh, how far are we actually going to take this? Like, are we going to go full out, and you're going to have your guards kill a prince, and then have to explain why the prince got killed, because then you're probably going to like, oh, shit.
So it's like, there was so much tension, so much stuff built. I'm giving this a 9. I really enjoyed it.
Question. So the high towers are from Old Town, right?
Yeah.
Old Town is where the big fucking, what do I want to say, not watchtower, where the big fucking lighthouse is, right?
Yep.
Okay. Is that also, let's call it, the capital of, what's that section of fucking land called?
Oh, God. I've been drinking a bit, so.
You know what I mean? It's between Dorne and the Westerlands, and now I'm drawing a complete freaking blank.
I'd have to get my map of Westeros out.
Right. Okay. But you know the area I'm talking about, the lower left part of the map. Okay. So is it? It's called the Reach?
Yeah, I think it was called. I want to say you're right. That sounds very familiar.
Okay, so let's just go with that. Okay, so isn't that area in Game of Thrones like the highest lord is the Tyrells?
Yes.
And they're from Highgarden,
Yes.
which is not Old Town.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
So what
remember they
happens to
had
that
those
family?
ties with
They all get
Highgarden.
murdered. Hey, all the Greens get murdered,
Yep.
and they're like, it's Tyrell time.
I'm guessing the Tyrells come around when to pick up the scraps and they start building their power. I think that would be interesting. I'd like a Lannister show to show how exactly they rose to
That's
power
like
prominently.
that's like the Boltons trying to take over the North.
Like they're very sneaky, and I'd like to, honestly, I'd like to
Yes, the
see a
Reach
show about
around.
Tywin.
Is Husky here?
I don't know. It said Stream Elements bot running, and then someone said Cybernetic Husky. Hi, pup. Oh, there he is. Pretend I redirected the viewers here.
Oh, I should probably switch over to this fucking live stream now instead of watching the other one. I was watching Husky.
See, we support everybody. He said, yes, I am here. Hello, Cybernetic Husky. Good to see you. We know you love Game of Thrones talk and Andor. So, I give this episode a 9. The only reason why it's not a 10 for me is just because, once again, we're not getting the actual war. It's just a lot of building up. But what they did, I thought was a lot better than 9. Logistically, everything made sense to me. Anytime, I'm sorry, I'm going to grade on a curve, but anytime Aemon is in a scene, the episode automatically gets a point for me. Matt Smith is fucking brilliant. I think the day he dies, because it's coming.
He's Daemon. Aemon is the son or the nephew.
Yeah,
his nephew, but his wife's son. Fucking incest.
Dude, I get it's hard. I feel like we got to keep like notes and a fucking log now of all of these families because it does get confusing if you're not tracking this shit.
Well, and it's not like all of them. All of the ones that are the same, they've barely dealt with. Like, what did we see a Stark? Like,
not yet.
We must have seen a Stark when he brought all of the lords there to kneel to his daughter in like episode 2 or 3. I don't remember which one it was.
I got to go back.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? When all the lords are standing there
like,
and they're like, "Yeah,
coronation thing."
Yeah. Okay. So there had to have been a Stark there at that point, but we ain't hardly seen any of that.
And this was the first episode we saw the Baratheons.
Right. This is the first real exposure to the Baratheons,
which was hilarious. So yeah, that's another point for me. The fucking Baratheons are assholes. It explains a lot about Robert.
Oh yeah.
What was his name? He was a dick, but a likable dick. And this guy, to me, I was like, you know what? This guy's an asshole, but I'd have beers with him. He's just like one of those guys, like he's just very blunt, and he's like, yeah, they offered me better stuff and like marriage and stuff for my daughter, so
right,
I'm going with them. I was like, yeah, they get it. They get how you play the game. It's like, because they might not win, but they got the most dragons, because remember, Matt Smith is there, Damon is there to get more dragons, because he knows dragon wise they won't win, because so far that other dude has the biggest dragon until Damon got that fucking dragon. So now that changes everything. So it was, yes, I do have a soft spot for assholes on my file.
Carrie, I don't understand the question. The map lit with candles, does that fit on the Game of Thrones map? I don't know.
The map in the beginning is a smaller version of the Game of Thrones map. This is what I like about this
The
show.
beginning of what?
The intro. That's
Intro
only
is not a map. What?
that intro is only the houses. It's not the actual breakdown of the world. They keep the intros different.
No, it's stupid. I wish that they would do it like they used to do Game of Thrones.
I disagree because we're not doing the same thing.
They use the exact same fucking song.
But isn't a regional battle? It's a battle between houses that already exist in that region. We don't go really anywhere except for this episode was the furthest they've traveled. We've stayed contained mostly within this one region.
Hold on. We went to Driftmark for a while. They got to go between Dragonstone and King's Landing all the time because there's always somebody at Dragonstone right now doing something. There's always somebody there. So how is that different than the end of the show when they're showing us 3 locations? Because they're like, okay, King's Landing, Winterfell, the Wall.
I mean, do we count the Wall as a location?
They always showed the Wall. Sometimes they'd show the Wall. Sometimes they show the Wall twice though, because they'd go
there again.
Castle Black, and then whatever episode when, spoiler alert for Game of Thrones, Hodor dies. It's whatever that other fucking castle is on the West End, and then in season 7 they're at Eastwatch by the Sea, so they show the Wall twice.
Oh, Christine agrees with me. Episode 10 gets a 9 from me. As Zod fans, looking forward to the next episode. The next episode is not going to happen for 2 years. Episode 10
2 years?
The season final. Yeah. They said it's in production right now, but it's going to take 2 years. And you know what? I'm fine with them. Apparently it's a hit, so they're getting a bigger budget. So I'm fine if they're going to take their time and we're going to get like battles, because I'm assuming, given the look, that I ad-libbed, but I took as we're going to war. So
well, I mean, they are
the Dragon War, and
this is their Archduke.
Oh yeah, the Dragon War is huge, and it lasts for 2 books. So I'm guessing maybe season 2.
The Dance of Dragons.
Yeah, the Dance of Dragons season 2 and 3, I think, is going to cover that because it's a long, bloody, drawn out.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to get to watching some House of Dragon videos. I got 2 years to figure out everything that's going on, so that way when the next season starts, I can get all confused again.
Yep.
But do you ever like know what's going on to the point where you're like, oh, well, this must be what happens next, because that's exactly how the show is written. And if you're able to pick up on all the clues, you'll know exactly what is about to happen almost all the time. And I have no idea what's ever going to happen. I mean, the only thing that I felt good about, and I was like, well, everybody's going to pick up on this, so it's not going to make me special, was when you see goddamn Godzilla outside the castle, you're like, oh, he's going to eat that other dragon.
Yeah, see, that I'll be honest with you, because they did some changes to the book for story reasons. It's harder for me to pick up. Like, I knew some of the stuff that was going to happen, but they did mix and match events. And I think they did that so people like me, if we read the book, we wouldn't be able to exactly know what's going to happen. But I had a clue, but I'll tell you what, that's why episode 10 is a 9 for me. I had no fucking idea. Like, I knew the kid was going to die, but that was it. And I didn't think in that fashion. Like, I didn't think he was going to be fucking eaten, like maybe lit on fire.
In one bite.
I don't think
like, you see how big the dragon is when this kid gets on him. And yeah, I know the kid isn't a full-sized man, but he's also not a goddamn midget, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And he gets on his dragon, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty big dragon right there. And then that dragon fits inside the other dragon's mouth.
And I was like,
whoa.
And that's what I said.
How are they going to kill this one?
I was I was on an 8, but the two scenes that got me was
It's a
that
9. I also give it a 9.
and her look. Her look at the ending.
Dude,
I made that ad
I'll
lib.
have to send you a picture of one of the comments from TV Time about that episode, because they're like, "Holy shit, look at this actress," and I was like, "You goddamn right, it's amazing."
And I'll tell you, like, the ending shot really won me over, because I got from that shot, and you picked it up as well, was, oh, she's gonna burn this place to the ground. Like, they did it, like, I said it for everyone, but they did do that shot where she didn't say we're going to war, but considering everything that happened in the episode,
Bring up,
all you need to do is see her look, and you're like,
bring up your Twitter.
all right, let me go to the Twitter. Here we go.
Because I'm pretty sure
Beautiful.
the first shot her being told that her father died.
Yeah.
That happened that was the very first part of the episode, because Rainey showed up. She's like, "Hey, your dad died. Also, they named your brother King."
And then that one with the miscarriage. and
then
then
it's miscarriage, and then it's somber crowning, and then it's I'm gonna
that's
burn them all.
that shot right there was the one
Are you
where
gonna
I was
share
like,
your fuck? I told you to bring it up on Twitter so you could share your screen with all the wonderful people at home, so they could know what we're talking about. Because
yeah, so
that
let me
look in the
go
lower right
to,
is the one you've been talking about for like half an hour.
yeah,
That's
let's
an
go to that shot.
exaggeration.
Because that's the one that made me go, yeah, I'm giving this a 9. Because and shout out to that
Dude, the
actress.
chick is really good.
Oh yeah, she's a really great actress. Like I
Really
said,
good.
just small complaints. But like, okay, so you got that
Zoom in
first
on it.
one.
Can you zoom in on it?
I don't know. I don't know if I can. Let me see.
I don't know if you can either.
No.
Okay, everybody bring it real close to your face. Oh, what was that?
Wait, hold on.
It's not making the picture any bigger. It's making
No.
the background bigger. So when you exit out, it's going to be massive.
Yeah, it's not doing the.
It's fine. Like, can they see it? Her name is Alcock Wright. What? Who? What?
That's the actress's name.
Alcock Wright?
Yes.
No way. No fucking way. Are you fucking with me?
I want to say that's not.
No fucking way. That can't be a true thing. Pulling
So,
my leg lemon pie. Yeah,
the
the look in the lower right is we're at war.
and that's why I said that they didn't need to say anything. And this is
I'm the queen. I have 13. Oh wait, I have 12 dragons.
oh Alcock is the last name.
No way. No way. That's a real name.
Yeah, hold on. I'll pull it. I'm gonna Google it.
You're gonna go on Google and search Alcock.
Yep. Here
Don't
we
do
go.
that. Don't do that. I don't want to see gay porn. That's not for me. Oh my god. I can't believe you.
It's Millie Alcock.
It's spelled Alcock.
Yep. A-L cock.
No.
Yes.
Is it A-L or A-L-L? Because lemon pie is
No,
putting A-L.
A-L. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up.
Alcock. Not Alcock.
Hold on. Millie Alcock.
ALCOC. Yeah, Alcock, not all. So you're pulling my leg again, lemon pie.
Oh, Australian.
You're welcome, Carrie.
So yeah,
Who is this chick? That's Rhaenyra?
yeah,
The young one or the old one? That looks like the young one.
that's the young one.
We're talking about the old one.
The older one might be a different actress.
No shit, guy.
Oh,
What do you mean might? There are two actresses that play Rhaenyra throughout the season, I guess, not the series. The second one's probably going to be around for quite some time. Like, might be around until the end, and they're just going to put up put on a shit ton of makeup to make her look to be old.
but that picture of all of those looks really sum up why this episode is a 9 for me. Like I said, I appreciate when a show.
So her crowning was far more touching than his crowning was.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was.
It seemed like it meant something, and what I found most interesting was they almost like kneel in order of, I guess, how close they are to the front. One, what I assume are her Kingsguard. There was 4 guys that were like standing around the perimeter. They didn't kneel at all. So I thought that was a little strange. I was like, you could probably take a knee right now. There are no archers on the horizon. And also, her aunt didn't kneel to her.
Yeah, I caught that. So
and I was like,
that's interesting.
Why not?
That, like, I assumed. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that was actually something I wanted to bring up earlier. So, like,
because they're doing it slowly, and it took her children like another moment after pretty much everybody else was on a knee, and I was like, okay, well, her kids took a knee for the queen, cool. And then they pan up to her, and she's just like looking at her all proud. And I was like, if you were proud of her and didn't have a bunch of pride yourself, you'd bend the knee.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's weird.
And it also plays into.
Said Driftmark didn't like make any declarations or anything yet.
Okay. And it plays into this whole war thing. So, also a 9 on great setup. I think that season 2 is going to have a lot of work because I want to see more battles and things like that. But this is a good start. This is a good start to the.
Are we going to Essos at all? Like, we were there for like what, half an episode?
I think they're saving that because there's some stuff that happens over there. I don't want to say in case it's in the show. But Essos does play a part.
I just want to see the entire fucking map.
Yeah, like Essos plays
all part. I care about. All I care about is like to know the actual map.
Yeah, I think everything's gonna get touched.
These motherfuckers leave it intentionally vague. I'm talking about you, Pokemon. How do all of the regions fit on the globe together?
You'll see.
No, they're never gonna fucking show us. Because they're going to say, well, it's just like the real world. And I was like, then why the fuck can't I see Kalos from Galar? This is bullshit.
So let's do something that we normally do to kind of wrap things up. Because this show is over.
Justin Proper reacts. Wait.
No, that's tomorrow. Hopefully. Let's give, to close out the night, let's give our overall series rating. What would you say for the season as a whole? I was
wondering if you were going to do that. In fact, my original thought was, I think Zod's going to want to just do a season review of House of the Dragon because now the season's over. And then he'll just be like, well, Next week we can pick up with Andor, because then we'll be able to talk about the full arc because of how goddamn consistent the show has been, which I do love about it. And I mean, of the two shows on the screen, if they came out at the exact same time, right? Exact same time. So you get the choice of which one you're going to watch first. Which one are you watching?
Andor.
Really?
I'm not gonna like. Okay, that's a shitty question because I love them both. And with the way streaming is, I would go Andor and then go into House of Dragons. But caveat, I would not dread watching them back to back. I've done that for these reviews. Like I'll watch Andor and then I'll watch House of Dragons, or if I was left on a cliffhanger, I'll watch House of Dragons and then Andor. But honestly, like you said, Andor is more consistent. So I'm consistently like more intrigued. Like episode 8, I'm waiting for episode 9. And with House of Dragons, I don't feel that urgency. Like I want to know what's going to happen, but if Andor's out first, I want to know a little bit more about what's going to happen with Andor, especially where it left off this episode.
It sounds like the book is clouding your judgment.
No, it's the shows.
No, and
Well,
I say it because to me, it seems like, well, I'm more excited to know what's going to happen in the other one because I have no idea, whereas I have pretty much an entire idea of what happens in House of the Dragon because I know that this person, this person, this person, this person, all these people aren't going to die.
That plays a part of it, but also
because it's just as important in House of the Dragon to know who isn't going to die, and then it just leaves you a list of people. You're like, oh, okay, well, we're far enough in the story now that this person could die, but will it be somebody else for the shock value?
And that's the appeal for me, who's read the book, of this show, is that okay, they're doing it out of order. So someone who would live that I like, they might actually bite the bullet and be in this show. Or they brought the black dude back from obscurity, my favorite character, who everybody hates. I'm on an island. I'm the only guy vouching for the black guy. Never thought I'd see the day.
Oh, Saw Gerrera?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about him before. I thought that was a really good scene.
Yeah, like they brought him back, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like you're not gonna do much because you're all fucked up, but like still a threat." So like it's shit like that. But then with Andor, it's just like that would be really hard because if they both premiered at the same time, I watched them a day later. So I find myself actually going to Andor first, and maybe it is what you said, like, okay, process of elimination. I got a good footing. I'm just waiting to see how it falls. Where at Andor, I have no fucking clue from moment to moment what's going to happen or what little detail is going to be important or the plans coming together. So in that way, I'd say Andor is consistently strong all the way through, and it gives you a good hook. Whereas House of Dragons is not so consistent for me. Some minor things are off where I could be like, it's a great show, like 9, I love it, but Andor is new.
Say bye to the dog.
Oh, see you later, Husky. Go have fun passing out in the doghouse.
Woof woof.
But yeah, you know what I mean? Like for you, it's all new. So I imagine it's a different choice. But for me,
my choice, if both of these come out at the same time, it's House of Dragon.
See, we did have one disagreement tonight. Yeah, see, me, it'd be Andor. But like
it's
you said,
but once again, it's not by a lot, though.
It isn't, and that's the thing that sucks. And I'm glad that they didn't do that because we do have that padding, and I think it was smart because Andor is just such a good show. But the shame part is more people are watching Game of Thrones than Andor. So overall, who wins that? Fucking House of Dragons. But I'm not one of them. I would watch Andor first.
the raw numbers isn't fair because like this is literally the second show in the entire universe that they made. Whereas there's probably some people out there that are actual fans that didn't even start on Kenobi yet. They're still working on season 2 of The Mandalorian. Like people got lives too, and they watch a million other things. They're like,
I'm gonna
I'm
say
busy.
they're more
I'm
prioritizing.
busy watching Cake Boss.
Someone put it the best where they say you have Obi-Wan, which is known. You have Boba Fett, even though it's shitty and we know it's shitty, but he's still known. You
It's
have the
got a couple
Mandalorian,
cool moments.
and you have the Mandalorian, which got buzz. But Andor, everyone's like,
Anyone who's like a substantial fan. I don't want to say like a real fan, but like you're putting in the time. It's on the list of stuff to always watch because it's Star Wars. Like who Cassian Andor is, and you probably didn't give a fuck about him, especially after you see what happens at the end of Rogue One. You're like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad I got invested in any of these characters. God damn
and I was
it!
pissed because my favorite one is the monk because
He's
famous.
everyone's favorite.
Yeah, I want that show. Now that Andor is this fucking good, can we get these writers to write about those two, the
The
monk
rest of
and
them,
oh my
I'll take
god.
the rest of them.
Yeah, just you know what? Fuck it. All of them. I take spinoffs. If the writing was like this, I would take spinoffs of every one of these characters.
Like, I
Blaze.
want to know what. No, I want to see if they're building Death Star parts, right? Let's say I swear to God they're building Death Star parts, which that is dastardly.
That's what I
Anyway,
thought too.
They're building Death Star parts. I want to see the story of Jyn Erso's dad also building the Death Star and putting this fatal flaw into it. And then, like the show ends with him like, the rebels are incoming.
And like Mads Mikkelsen is a great actor. You can get him for that. They got fucking Diego Luna to come back. So, I mean, and they got some pretty surprisingly famous people in this because I knew the guy who played the asshole. He was in Punisher and Netflix and Andy Serkis. So they got the money to get these people back. Like, this is the shit we want. Good writing. You know what I wish? I wish this writing was in fucking Boba Fett. Because that was the biggest disappointment until you got to the first episode of The Mandalorian. I'm sorry, the last 2 episodes of Boba Fett. They were really the first episodes of The Mandalorian. That was the only time. Seeing Grogu stop the Rancor. That scene, 10 out of 10. And then he falls asleep next to him. Cutest fucking thing I've ever seen.
It's pretty
he just
amazing.
Curls up into a little bowl right next to the fucking Rancor. I was like, I want that fucking poster.
Anyway, I would easily be able to put Andor first as soon as it gets a dragon, like House of the Dragon.
So I guess the burning question is
my overall like series like
series.
It would be nice to go back and look at all of the numbers that we've given them and then divide it, because I don't know if it's gonna come out to a 9, but I feel like it's gonna come out to more than an 8.5. So it's like somewhere between 8.5 and 9 for the whole season. Like, it's just as good as the original season of Game of Thrones, at least to me. It might be a hair better because dragons. Like, all of the same political stuff is there. The acting is just as good as it was then.
I'm gonna say,
and you have dragons.
I would say I would be with you. I would say about an 8.5. I would say Game of Thrones season 1 was a little bit stronger just because of the Sean Bean and the initial shock of the main character getting killed, and just the way the season went as a whole really ramped up at the end of those last episodes. This one I felt like it stumbled here and there, and then 10 was fucking foot on the gas. Here we go, but I didn't feel
Oh
the
yeah, there
build.
was definitely an up and a dip and then another peak.
Yeah, like there was a dip between what did we say, like 7 or 6. There were kind of the slow points,
I don't know.
but
There was how long was it last review or the review before that when we both said that both shows are suffering from not much happening because we're just doing setup.
yep, yeah, it was
That must have
it was
been
an
the
hour
previous. That
review.
must have been when we did episode 5 of Andor. I'm guessing.
Yep.
I'm
And
gonna
we
have to
said
go
this
back
was
and
all
look.
build up. Yeah. And it was only an hour review because there wasn't much to talk about. And for me, when a show has that kind of inconsistency, and look, even great shows, I consider this like I'm putting it up with like Breaking Bad season 1. Season 1 was a short season. If anyone ever watched it, it was only 8 episodes. Now, typically, Breaking Bad is 13 episodes. After it got past season 1, from fucking season 2 to 5, it was foot on the pedal, nonstop, shit blowing up, people dying. You didn't know what was going to happen from moment to moment. Some of the greatest fucking acting ever. And I hope I'm not putting my too much faith into it, but I think this show has that potential. Like, we got the setup shit out of the way, and now we're going to see fucking dragons fucking murdering people, shit blowing up, people being fried, motherfucking dragons eating more dragons. Dude, we get shit that we got in season 10, but we got a big scale. Like, we just see that motherfucker just eating other dragons on the battlefield. Dude, every episode will be a fucking 10 for me. Like, I think if I think like now that the show is an success and they'll give it a bigger budget, if we get some killer picture, okay, PB, picture Battle of the Bastards in the sky. How fucking cool would that be?
No, I don't. Okay, so he said that they have 13. One got killed. They got 12. But isn't that 12 counting 3 eggs?
Yeah.
So it's really 9 on 4 or 3?
3.
I thought it. Okay, I don't.
Because you got
remember.
that last one.
Okay, so how many? Like the dragon that Damon rides seems like it's half the size of Vagar.
Yeah.
I mean, his dragon has a super long neck, so like, yeah, I don't think that it, like works as a weapon like that. Like you can't wrap his neck around him like a snake or anything like that. Whereas Vagar doesn't have much of a neck, but has a lot more body to him, and his mouth is gigantic. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I get what
Right.
you're saying.
They're not all shaped the same.
They got different.
Like Danny's dragons were all essentially shaped the same. They were just slightly sized differently. Like they all had the same relative length of neck and wingspan and stuff. Like they were made to look like they were kind of triplets.
Yep.
Whereas all of these dragons are all kinds of different.
And they said in the lore too, the dragons did vary, especially towards the end of the reign. They got smaller and smaller. So you could see.
Yeah, he's got to be the last big one.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think that this show is a great setup, and I think this is going to be one of those situations where if they do it right, we can look from like the different seasons and go, well, now we know season 1 was important because it laid the groundwork for the cool shit we got later. I hope that's the discussion we're having later on as the show progresses, and that maybe PB will be happy. Maybe this could be the redemption that
I can hope.
Yeah.
That's why I would watch it before Andor, but we ain't gotta answer that question for another 4 episodes?
Yep.
Because now it's just Andor.
And it'll be interesting to see how we rate Andor. So are we in agreement it's about an 8.5?
For the season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because mine's not going to be up to a 9. So I think we can come to an agreement that it's an 8.5 season.
Yeah, I would say this was a solid start.
You'll be very happy. I would go a little bit higher than that.
See, I'm at an 8.5 just because I want
Like
to see what this leads into.
8.5 is at least great.
Oh yeah. Look, when I grade stuff, if you
No,
think
I'm just
about
letting you
grading,
know that solid isn't as complimentary a word as great is.
okay, this is great television. And look, when I score something, right, 5 is average. We're doing a 1 from 10 scale. So when you think about that numbers rise, right, 5 is half. So for me, a 5 is average, and that's 90% of the shit that I see. Now, when I did Black Panther, I gave it a 7. Yeah, I consider it above average, but I don't like it personally, but it still was worth the 7, right? Because it was competently shot. Does I've watched it more than once. It does keep me engaged. And this is how I rate things, right? So an 8 for me, you're close to like the 2 top tier numbers, 9 and 10. Like 9
Well,
is
I mean,
almost
you can go up
perfection,
to
and
you
10
can
is
go up to,
perfect.
right. You can go up to a 9.5 because it's like, oh, it's just, you don't like what's the last thing you gave a 10 to?
I gave a 10. This was recent. I gave a 10 to what was it? It was a horror movie. Terrifier.
Terrifier 2?
Yep.
Interesting.
10 out of 10. Now, that's very subjective because horror movies are a
No,
different kind of
10,
breed.
no, 10's like 10 is a 10 regardless of what it is.
It's
Now, that being said, not all 10s are made the same.
exactly. There we go. It's one of those things where, like, if you're a horror fan and you like blood and guts and suspense and fucked up looking shit, this is like made for you. But if you
Probably
get
the last thing, I feel like the last thing I gave a 10 to was the season finale of The Mandalorian because I was like, hallway scene.
and yeah, we gave that a 10 too. I think we both gave that a 10.
Like when you think everything else in the episode is great, and then there's a capper where you're like, yep, you just put a fucking cherry on top. Boom, 10.
And that was a perfect cameo because that didn't make that episode great. It just put that final right on top.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like the episode, even let's say it don't even fucking happen, right? Still a great episode.
The dark
Not a
saber
10.
battle with the Mandalorian and Moff Gideon, that alone is like a 10 out of 10.
Right.
The
I'm
visuals,
taking this back.
like,
For Mandalore. You took your helmet off. Fuck
yep.
you, Mandalore.
Like, and I was going back through and watching season 1 of The Mandalorian, and even that's a solid.
Are you
8.
gonna say solid? You're gonna say solid.
Yeah, that's a solid 8.
Oh, that
Great.
one's an 8. Okay, that one's an 8. Okay.
Yeah, because like it didn't have that punch, but it was still good all the way through, and we had those problems.
Okay,
Like the
so
weird
that
little episodes in
means
between.
that means where it stands right now, being an 8.5, there is room for Andor to pass it up.
Yeah, we could have Andor, and I'll be honest with you,
we just rated the last 2 episodes, even though they're 7 and 8, we rated them 8 and 9.
Yeah, 8 and 9. So it's
interesting how people can come to the same number and not like the same stuff as much as the other person. Because we did not, this week it was not like the last time we did a review when we were like, all of our favorite episodes were exactly this, or scenes were the same. And I was like, I guess that one was really fucking good, wasn't it? This one was a little different.
But I think we got the gist, like, as far as 8 went, we both like the same scene, just different shots.
Did we talk about our favorite scenes in House of the Dragon, episode 9 or 10?
I think we both said them. I mean, Clearly 10 was the dragon eating the other dragon.
Right. Both episodes, the best scene was the dragon scene.
Yeah. And 9 was the dragon Yeah,
The dragon
we said them.
scene.
We just
Okay.
did to highlight it. But yeah, the 2 dragon scenes.
Like it all came back to the dragon scene. In episode 9, everything came to the dragon scene. I wouldn't say everything came to the dragon scene in episode 10, but
For me, it was.
I like Top Gun.
For me, 10 was that. Okay, my favorite was obviously the dragon eating the other dragon, but a strong contender was that first shot. Because you see, but you don't see. And then when they give you the full picture, that's brilliant filmmaking because they don't show you, but they give you enough where you go, that's a big motherfucker. And then they show it and you go, that's Godzilla.
Right.
That's Godzilla.
I was for a moment there, I was like, how small is this castle?
And then you realize, oh, it's not the castle.
The castle is massive.
The dragon is fucking massive. So
then
it's
you
like,
look around and you see the camera pan all the way through. You're like, okay, well,
yes.
he just got off a dragon and he landed in the courtyard. And that motherfucker is the courtyard.
So yeah, I'm gonna start wrapping this up because my lovely lady probably wants to. What do you want to
she
do,
does.
You don't?
I thought she was just gonna fuck with you and be like, you, but not tonight.
She decided.
You literally don't stop begging me.
I don't beg. Anyways, we gotta go. It's been a great show.
Watch Andor.
Watch Andor. So
watch it twice.
It's been a great show. Watch Andor. House of Dragons was great. If you missed it, rewatch it. Good show. And catch us tomorrow on the Fandom Zone with General Zod and PB.
Oh my god. You get to say General, but I don't get pop culture. I'm just PB because it only says Zod on the screen, you son of a bitch.
I'm sorry, with pop culture PB, aka
that's
peanut
me.
butter.
And you're gonna love it. We'll see you there.
Good night, everybody.
See you later.
Oh man, I should hit the button.
Are you